Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, bro, because. Yeah, like, uh, hello, hello. Yeah, go.
Yeah, like, okay, thank you. Hello everyone, a very good morning. I, on behalf of the organizing committee, would like to welcome you all. Actually, we have lots of special invitees from various departments, from education department, and we have representative from Manipur State AIDS Control Society, and we have also representative from Social Welfare Department, as well as DALSA, and we are waiting for more representative from the various department also, as well as like we are running out of time, so let's start our today's state level consultation workshop on implementation of the Transgender Person Protection of Rights Act 2019 and Rules 2020. So in order to start this program, like I myself, Yunam Savana, and I'm representing from Sati, as well as we today we are conducting with the help of one of our colleague, R.K. Chujata. Along with her, like we are conducting this program. And also, I would like to thank all the special invitees for making this program fruitful, and also hope all our community invitees also to participate in this program. So, I would like to request Oinam Hemabati Elias Hemba, President of Empowering Trans Ability, to give a warm welcome address. Please welcome Hemba.
Thank you, Sabna. So I would like to talk our local language. Yeah. Aina ahan mamaktada aina ngasi ahan mamaktada aina thagat chaning bahai baba pu akhoi honorable executive chairman from Masasa asi bu aina ahan mamaktada itagi president maikay amadi sathi amanagi maikay degi pulabna subsan jaraga hanna na thagat sabaga loina na ngasi implementations of the transgender persons right protections of right Act 2019 and Rules 2020 hairiba asigi program asibu sathi amana itana punsinjaraga amadi masal sada haijarakanda yam saw space ama koigi mafam asida ADR hall asida bibi bagi damaktasu amukasu halna masal sabu thagat sabaga loina loina na aina sum makata na mayamda thagat welcome address aina pijarakwa matam asida thagat ningba akoigi core community, especially transgender persons, members from NGOs, CBOs, Lady Bapuna Mapusu, Loina Loina government stakeholders, Dalsa Advocate, KhutSem live telecast, Amasong Hazing and Ahum, packaging for arranging gift packs in Pride Teams Hariba, Koigi, Hosing Naunas, Koigi Putoksara Iba, KhutSem gi oiba, Koigi Mapamasigi Manipur gi oiba, Koigi Migi Lamde Pusalaktaba, Koigi Sana Nabagi Damakta, Asar Su, KhutSem na Putoksabagi Karagi Damakta, Sigumba, Angang Sing Amadi, Lairiba, Koigi Enterprise, Sigidam, Sibusu, Akoi, Itasati Amanagi Maikaidegi, Hanna Natagasava Pokser, Pongtoksari. So, ngasigi program asida yamna maru ina pangthokadoriba akoin mayamna khana nainagadoriba sidi ahanbada to thoroughly understand the Transgender Persons Protections of Right Act 2019 and Rule 2020 hairiba pot asibu mayamna akoi mayamna mayek sengna hantakta sana pathap oina pikhiba akoigi ek asina takibagi matung ina akoi gumba nupa manba nupi manbi hairiba pot asigi damakta akoi bu hanthana yengamba asibu yengdanabagi damakta hantak nauna thoklaiba ek asibu akoi mayamna amadi stakeholder mayamna mapung phana khangminna nabagi damakta ngasi pangthok saba program ni ani subada two strategies toward actionable decisions and various government departments, directorates, boards, and formulating transgender specific policies, and as mandated by the Act Hairiba Asina Akoigi Hairiba Koigi Nupaman Nupiman Bising Asida Akoigi Hantak no Pekiriba Ek Asigi Sana Pathap Sing Asibu Akoina Hairiba Koigi government department sing Mari Lena Bamayam Sina Masmatau Karamna Sibu Tabak Koina Pangtok Pinabagi Damakta Akoina ngasigi program asibu masal saga loina na sathi amana itana sinja langja duna pangthok sabani mayam sina su thabak oina pangthok saba amusung loina loina na ahum subada to work out preventive and mitigating strategies to address bullying, violence and discrimination against the transgender persons and gender non-conforming persons. Hai riba akoi gumba nupa man ban nupi man bising asida akoi bu chana patha basina taibang samas asina akoi bu hanthana tayona ba mayokta ubiram ba punamak asigi mayokta akoi na ngas matau karam na masibu lephan gadage matau karam na koi sumioi bani haibagi maramda koigi lairiba mari lainaba department sing asina amadi nauna tariba rule asigi matung ina thabak boina pangthok piraknabagi damakta ngasigi program asi sinja langja bagaloina na ngasigi program asibu mapung phan biduna program asida lengbira iba koigi stakeholders sing High Court asigi dalsa punamaki advocating amadi mari lainaba koigi madam hoiming oina panjadravsu stakeholders sing mayamsu yam nungayo phongtok sabagaloina na itagi president gi maikaidagi sathi amana itagi maikaidagi punna aigi maikaidagi welcome address pejaba asiga loina na raina na sabna dasna. Thank you ma'am.
Thank you Yambung for delivering a heartfelt thamoida yamna touching oiba like nupaman ba nupiman bigidamta yam welcome bibi kana thagachari akhoi ki makha program makha chathabati aina akhoi ki organizing committee ki makai degi Santa Khurai secretary of all Manipur nupiman be association bu keynote address bi na ka khonjari. Santa please.
A very good morning to all the invitees and also the community member and the stakeholders who have willingly come to participate and to take a way forward discussion for this consultation. So the main objective of today's consultation is how to implement the Transgender Act 2019 in Manipur. So for this, we need a lot of support from the different stakeholders. It's not about the stakeholder, but also stakeholder at large, including the social stakeholder, community stakeholder. So we need a very constant consultation along with the community and other stakeholders so that we can come up with a very finite policy which will be definitely helping in implementing programs for the transgender community. I would like to reflect a bit of, snippets what has been going around in the historical movement of transgender in India. Since 2014, there had been a lot of, flip-flops that have taken place in the movement. In 2014, the Supreme Court Nacha judgment came out, and through that strength, Amana, Sati, and Ita, we have put down a huge effort in terms of implementing that judgment. We have started facilitating gender identity sense affidavit for the community. But regretfully, this act popped up in 2019. Now there was a lot of controversy between the judgment and the act. So that was a big challenge when we are trying to mobilize community, when we are trying to scale up the awareness of the transgender narratives, and also what are the things that needs to do in the ground level. But now we have intended to implement the Transgender Rights Act 2019 in Manipur. So in today's consultation, we are going to have a Q&A session for the community, which will be mainly focused on the interaction between the government stakeholder and the community stakeholder, so that we can at least able to collect thought and ideas which will be collecting and then trying to bring out in the form of a policy and in order to implement programs in the near future. And we will also having a very in-depth discussion with all the invitees and the participants to come up with the suggestion, ideas, feedbacks, to look at the way forward to implement this Transgender Act 2019. So this is some of the main objective for organizing today's state interdepartmental consultation. With this, I would like to end here, and a very warm gratitude from Amana, Sati, and Ita to all the peoples who have shown their interest and have willingly come here to participate and listen to the stories of the community, and who also hopefully have the capacity to support the community in terms of implementing the Transgender Act 2019. Thank you.
Thank you. With this, I would like to request Deputy Member Secretary Sri Sadananda Sorokhaibam, Manipur State Legal Services Authority, to kindly speak on the topic, Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019 and Rules 2020. Sir.
Ahanba magtadang asigi lengsin biriba mayambu Manipur State Legal Service Authority ki site ki kurumjari nolok pagaloy na. For today's program, before going to the topic, I would like to say that Manipur State Legal Services Authority have a long history of collaboration with all the stakeholders working in the field of the trans community in Manipur, such as Sati, Amana, Sati, Amana, and all other Ita in Manipur. Much before, Supreme Court had recognized trans community as a separate identity, as a separate gender. Manipur State Legal Services Authority, in association with the various community stakeholders, have been doing have contributed a lot to empowering the trans community, the marginalized community in Manipur. It dates back even a decade ago till 2010, when legal services authorities with the stakeholders in community stakeholders in Manipur have provided certain legal aid and assistance to the trans community, even giving them the much needed property rights and all such. And with this long association and collaboration, by the year 2019, the transgender community transgender persons were recognized in Manipur has been entitled to free legal services in Manipur. So it has been a journey of 10+ years, a decade-long journey between the Manipur State Legal Services Authority and the community stakeholders working in the protection of the trans rights. Now that's a different story altogether. So the topic I'm assigned to today is the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019, along with the corresponding rules, Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Rules 2020, framed by the central government, the government of India. So all the dignitaries present here today representing their respective government departments. Some are yet to turn up, but in case they will be turning up as with the progression of the program. They have all their this specific act, the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act, have cast them certain responsibilities, certain duties on them, like which I'll be referring to as I continue my presentation. So, but before, so first of all, I would like to say that like I'm not much of a student of sociology, but from what I understand from the reading of this act, from what I have understand as a student of law, I feel that this act has some important characteristic features. First of all, it seems to, the framework of the act seems to suggest or seems to view that gender as a concept which includes both cultural as well as biological concepts. Because there is a definition in the section 2 which defines transgender person. Section 2, this transgender person is defined as a person whose gender does not match with the gender assigned to that person at birth, and includes trans men as well as trans women, whether or not such person has undergone sex reassignment surgery or hormone therapy or laser therapy or such other therapy. And it also includes, transgender person also includes persons with intersex variation, genderqueer, and persons having such socio-cultural identities as Hijra and all such identities prevalent in India. So, and the persons with intersex variation have also been defined under the Act so as to mean a person who at birth shows variation in his or her primary sexual characteristics as well as external genitalia, chromosomes or hormones from a normative standard of a male or female body from what we normally understand. So it seems to imply that the concept of gender as per this act includes both the cultural concept, the socio-cultural concept, as well as the biological concept, the construct of what a gender is supposed to be. So gender and sex no doubt pertains to the sexuality of a person, but this act covers both the socio-cultural aspect as well as the biological concept, whether not only the persons who by choice have become have identified themselves as a trans community, but from the birth itself they are to be identified as a different gender. So and another important characteristics I found in this act is like it recognized gender as a fluid concept. It pertains to the fact that section 7, I think 7 of this act allows change of the gender identity. So by choice of the person who is assigned a gender at birth, but is willing to change to a different gender, he or she is allowed to do the same. But But after that also, after the trans person undergoes a sex reassignment surgery, the trans person is allowed to change the gender again. So it implies that the egg recognizes the fluidity of the gender as well. So that is what I found from the first reading of the egg. But apart from that, as the egg deals with the egg primarily deals with the protection of the rights of the transgender persons. So for protection of the rights, we have to be sure that we have to be aware that the trans people have the certain rights. Accordingly, the person's rights is to be protected. So, but before that, it is to be affirmed, or it is to be recognize that the person as such, the trans person as such, the recognition of the trans person as such, the identity affirmation is required first before we try to provide, we try to elucidate what are their rights, before we try to elucidate what type of protection they are required. First, we have to say like we have to affirm the identity as such, that we have to give due recognition to the trans person as such. So the scheme of the egg follows like that. So here, in giving affirmation to the identity, in giving recognition to them, the egg casts a duty on certain government or departments. The first and the foremost will be the district administration of every district, who are to issue the certificate of identity as such. Then after, another duty for the recognition is cast upon the health department. Then another important duty is also cast on the education department for giving recognition as such, because when we deal with children who are willing to identify themselves as a transgender person, we have to target at the schools first, because we have to give them the proper education, and that is specifically what this act provides. This act provides, in the definition clause itself, this act gives a definition of the inclusive education. Inclusive education is meant as a system of education wherein transgender students learn together with other students without fear of discrimination, neglect, harassment, or intimidation, and the system of reaching and learning is suitably adapted to meet the learning needs of such students. So the Act casts a duty upon the education department to develop such a system of education wherein the new generation will follow a policy of zero discrimination, will no longer feel discriminated, while the trans children will no longer feel discriminated, while the other children will not regard them as a subjects of taboo, will not discriminate against them. So the Act provides that it should start with the education system itself, and I think this is a primary basic requirement which we should aim for. So today's program, which is the implementation of the Act, we have to see like how far in Manipur this Act has been implemented, and what are the steps which has been taken up by the various stakeholders from the government side, from the government department side as well. So as the program progresses, I think all the representatives of the government who are present today, all the dignitaries will present their views, will present the schemes, will present their steps which have been taken up. Because this is something which I am not saying, which trans persons are not saying, this is something which the Act, this legislation, this Act, the Transgender Persons Protection of the Rights Act is saying, like that we have to do it, we have to ensure it. So now going on, this Act provides for the recognition of the identity of the transgender person. This Act provides a specific chapter, Chapter 3 of the Act, along with the rules framed by the rules of 2020 framed by the central government, provides the procedure in which how the recognition, how their identity is to be affirmed, how to give them the recognition as such. The procedure prescribed is very simple actually. Any trans person can make an application as such to the district magistrate concerned of under whose jurisdiction the person resides, supported by an affidavit that the person declares as a transgender person. Suppose the Act also further provides that even after a certificate has been issued, if a transgender person undergoes a sex reassignment surgery, the person can still apply for the modification of his identity on the basis of the medical certificate supported by medical certificate issued by the CMO or any medical officer concerned of the establishment where the person had undergone the surgery. Of course, here it can be mentioned that when the district magistrate does an inquiry as to establish that the transgender person is a genuine application, is a genuine person, it has to be remembered always that there shall be no physical examination conducted. The affidavit itself should be sufficient enough to prove the identity of the person, the transgender person. But in case the transgender person applies for the modification, change of the person's gender, the medical certificate issued by the CMO or the medical officer concerned should be sufficient enough. The law provides that there shall be no physical examination conducted for this purpose. Okay, now that is here lies the importance of the health agencies, health departments, working in tandem, working in collaboration with the district administration to secure that the issuance of the identity certificates as such, the transgender person has been done smoothly without any much hindrance, because the Act provides that it should be done in a simple and almost in an informal manner as well. There should be less bureaucratic as well as administrative hurdles as such. That is what the law provides. So now if we are as I have said briefly about the provisions of the Act, which provides how a transgender person's identity is to be recognized or affirmed as such. Now we can move to the discrimination, their rights protection their protection of their rights part. The Act provides certain actions which are to be deemed as a discrimination, some certain prohibitory acts which shall be regarded as a discrimination against a transgender person. There are 3 sections which provides the rights of the transgender person as such regarding discrimination. First of all, Section 3 provides prohibits certain acts which shall not be done by any person, any establishment, or any government organization or any agency concerned on the ground or that the person is a transgender person. Then Section 18 prescribes the penalties and offenses under the Act. Like, I'll give an example of that because there are certain overlapping areas regarding the prohibitory acts and the offenses which are mentioned in the Act. First of all, certain prohibitory acts will include denial or discontinuation or unfair treatment in an educational establishment and the services thereof. Here, the educational establishment is wide enough to cover both state-run as well as government as well as the private institutions, because both private schools which are recognized by the government board are covered by this educational establishment as per the definition of this Act. So if a transgender person is denied or discontinued, or there is unfair treatment in any educational establishment as such, that will amount to prohibition, discrimination against a transgender person. Here, if such discrimination is coupled with a physical or mental abuse or any other type of abuse against a transgender person, be it by any the school authority or by the students or anybody itself, that will amount to an offense under Section 18 of this Act. So if there is abuse coupled with unfair treatment, discrimination, discontinuation, and in the education, that will be punishable with imprisonment up to 2 years and with fine also. Then, if there is unfair treatment in relation to an employment or occupation, it will also amount to discrimination against a transgender person. And if such unfair treatment is so acute in a sense that it amounts to even bonded labor or some type of slavery where the person's wages or salary has been denied. It will amount to an offense under the Section 18 of the Act as well. Still, so if a person engages in such act, such person will be liable to imprisonment with imprisonment up to 2 years. Then, if there is discontinuation or unfair treatment in the healthcare service, the same follows. It will be counted as a discrimination against a transgender person. And if such treatment is coupled with abuse, physical, mental, emotional, or whatever, it will be an offense as well. And one important right of the transgender person which has been recognized under this Act is the right to household, right to a shared household, right to residence. The Act specifically provides that all transgender persons shall not be denied the right to reside in a household where his parents or his relatives reside, where the person has a certain right to reside. If it amounts to that, if a certain transgender person is evicted from the household without any due reason, just on the grounds of being a transgender person, that person who had evicted, who had done the act is liable to punishment, liable for punishment with the same imprisonment up to 2 years, and along with fine. So this is one important right which has been recognized under this act, and I think it is very much relevant in Manipur today because transgender community in Manipur, there are many stories already, and it's everything is almost in the public domain, like how the transgender persons have been evicted or forcefully thrown out from the houses, and even whether it be a rent house or family house or any type of house. So that is strictly prohibited as far as the Act is concerned. So other rights includes, like if a transgender person is denied entry to any public place where any other person has normally have access to, that will also amount to discrimination. And coupled with that, not only it will amount to discrimination, it will be an offense as well, subject to the same punishment of imprisonment up to 2 years. So it follows that there are certain acts which have been prohibited so that to ensure the rights of a transgender person as far as the Act is concerned. The most prominent amongst them will be the right to reside in a household as far as Manipur is concerned. So now going beyond that, we can now touch a bit about the welfare measures which are to be taken up by the government. This is also mandatorily cast upon by this Act, by this legislation, upon the government department dealing with the welfare measures. So this Act specifically provides that the government department or the government as well in general should undertake such measures for the upliftment of the transgender persons overall, should facilitate the access to their welfare schemes, and not only that, they should develop specific transgender schemes specific for the transgender community as well. In furtherance of that, in the rules, it is clearly mentioned that the government should establish a transgender welfare board under the Department of Social Welfare to oversee or to frame such specific schemes which will be in consonance with the protection of the rights of the transgender community in Manipur. So it is a duty cast upon the government departments as per the Act is concerned. And there is also an obligation cast upon every establishment, whether it will be a private establishment or whether it be a government establishment. Certain establishments have been cast certain duties to ensure that the transgender persons' rights are protected well enough. So prominent amongst them is, I would like to mention this Section 12 of the Act, which I'll be reiterating again anyway. First of all, Section 12 provides that no child shall be separated from parents or immediate family on the ground of being a transgender, except on an order of a competent court in the interest of the child. So this is strictly prohibited under the Act. The rights of a person, the rights of a transgender person, the rights of a transgender child has been specifically protected so that the custody of the person, the child, should not be given away to any other by force. From there, we can come to the education part. The Act also, as I have said earlier, every educational institutions have been that is both funded or recognized by the appropriate by the government shall provide inclusive education and opportunities for sports, recreation, leisure activities to a transgender person without discrimination on an equal basis with others. This is what the Act provides for the Education Department. What the Education Department of the state should do. It also casts a duty upon the not only to formulate welfare schemes and programs, but also to facilitate and support livelihood programs for the transgender person as well. Because this Act recognizes transgender community as a minority, as a fragile community as such. So to give them equal opportunities, this Act provides that the government should take enough measures for the, in consonance with the livelihood programs of the state to provide such livelihood support for the transgender community as well, such vocational support, such life skill support which can be provided. Now, even for the health side, health department side, I have mentioned a bit about how their role is very important in the issuance of the certificate, identity certificate. Now, a different on another side, this Act casts a duty upon the State AIDS Control Society also of the state to set up separate human HIV virus serosurveillance centers to conduct serosurveillance for such persons in accordance with the guidelines issued by the National AIDS Control Organization in this behalf. So such is the duty cast upon the State AIDS Control Society as far as the Act is concerned. Then as far as the Health Department is concerned, apart from the duty they have been cast upon for the issuance of the identity certificate, it has been further stated that to provide such medical care, including sex reassignment, surgery, and hormonal therapy, and to provide such counseling before and after sex reassignment surgery and hormonal therapy, and to bring out the health manual related to sex reassignment surgery in accordance with the World Profession Association for the Transgender Health Guidelines, review of the medical curriculum and research for doctors to address their specific health issues, to facilitate access to transgender persons in hospitals and other healthcare institutions and centers, provisions for coverage of the medical expenses by a comprehensive insurance scheme for sex reassignment surgery, hormonal therapy, laser therapy, or any other health issues of transgender person. From here, it is very clear that not only the transgender persons are to be provided the medical facilities, but the Act stipulates that the health department should take up such measures which, to cover even the insurance scheme or to develop such, formulate such specific comprehensive insurance scheme for covering the expenses of the reassignment surgery as such, for any other hormonal therapy. So such duties cast upon the duties, or rather the responsibilities cast upon the different government departments to ensure that the rights of the transgender persons have been protected in toto, completely. So the Act is quite a new Act. It has been enacted only in 2019, but it assumes importance, very much importance, in the light of the fact that the transgender community in Manipur have been known to be victimized for a long period of time. So a proper implementation of the Act, for the proper and effective implementation of the Act, with the support of all the stakeholders, ranging from the government departments to the community stakeholders, shall all come together to provide that the rights of all the transgender persons have been protected in completely. So before I wind up, I would like to mention again the part about how much education will be very much important for the proper implementation, not only for the proper implementation of this Act, but for the protection of the rights of the transgender persons as well. Because everywhere it will start in education, because we cannot do much about the generation, about our present generation or the older generation are concerned. But if you are to protect the rights of the transgender person completely, we can start from the younger generation, the generations which are coming up, to ensure that there is no discrimination among themselves, among the children themselves, whether they are trans children, whether they are normal children, or whatever children. So to ensure that the proper and inclusive education which is stipulated under this act is very much required, to remove all such taboos, to remove all such stigmas, to remove all such discrimination. It is in the education which will start. Finally, I can say that whatever we say, gender and sex, about the rights of the transgender person, it all comes down to a sexuality of a person. In conclusion, I would like to say that our school curriculum can develop a formula to include the sex education in the children, because even when we give awareness about the prevention of crimes prevention of children against sexual offenses of POCSO Act, it becomes a bit difficult to give an awareness to the children, because in Manipur, the sexual education is not included in the curriculum of the students. So it becomes a big task to how to give awareness about POCSO to the children who are not aware about the sexual education. So government as well as the department can take up enough measures to include sex education in the curriculum as well for the students, so that a comprehensive policy for the inclusive education, whether be about the transgender children, the generations who will be coming up, to ensure that their rights are protected, to ensure that they are not discriminated. So that is what we can hope for the future generations as well. And by saying this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Sri Sadananda Sorokhaibam, Deputy Member Secretary, Manipur SALSA, for providing insights on the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019 and Rules 2020. With this, I would like to request Dr. Ramakrishnan, Vice President Sati, and Srimati Randhoni Larigengbam, Assistant Director Sati, to kindly provide insight on the experiences related with the transgender certification process as per the Act. The said Act. Sati stands for Solidarity and Action Against the HIV Infection in India. I would like to request Dr. Ramakrishnan and Srimati Randhoni Larigengbam to please come on the dais.
Distinguished guests, thank you for this invitation. Before we actually begin sharing some of our experiences, we would like to foreground community experiences. You spoke, sir, about the need for education in schools that covers gender and sexuality. You spoke about employment, you spoke about livelihood. You spoke about healthcare. So we've got many of these points articulated by voices of the community, not only from Manipur, but different parts of the country. So we request you to just bear with us for about 10 minutes while we screen this video. No, it'll be good to start it with that.
எல்லா பள்ளி கல்லூரிகளில் இருக்கிற பாடத்திட்டத்தில் கண்டிப்பாக இதை ஒரு பாடத்திட்டமாக கொண்டு வரணும். பாலின வேற்றுமையை பற்றியும் பாலின புரிதல்கள் பற்றியும் கண்டிப்பாக ஒரு பாடத்திட்டமாக வைக்கணும்.
હું એક ટ્રાન્સમેન છું અને શિક્ષણ વિભાગ સાથે જોડાયેલો છું. તેથી હું ચાહું છું કે દરેક શૈક્ષણિક સંસ્થાઓમાં એક જેન્ડર ન્યુટ્રલ વોશરૂમ હોવો જોઈએ અને એક જેન્ડર ન્યુટ્રલ રેસ્ટરૂમ હોવો જોઈએ.
Please stop bullying and harassment against all transgender and gender non-conforming children in all educational settings. After all, trans lives matter.
Allow students to wear the uniform consistent with their gender, not with their assigned sex. Educational institutions should facilitate change of name and gender markers in academic certificate for transgender students.
Hi, my name is Vikram and I'm an active member of Sabrang Group. My demand is that all job application forms should have the letter T.
Hello everyone, my name is Jenpui. I'm a trans woman from Manipur. I want to express my opinion in workplace. We should have a gender neutral restroom and allow employees to use restroom consistent with their gender.
कर्म क्षेत्र रे विभिन्न लिंगगत परिचय नै बचुथिबा लोकमानंकु नियुक्ति दवा पई पदक्षेप नियाजिबा दरकार.
Recognize leave applications for transgender people who may need to undergo gender affirming medical procedures while being employed. Public amasung private sector gi department khudimagna transgender employee amana masagi gender affirming medical procedure gi damak leave application tharaklabadi makoi bu susuidena leave pibigadabani. Thagatsari. Thank you.
To enable transgender people to optimize their potential, it is important that employees work towards fostering an inclusive environment where they feel comfortable to be their authentic selves, and that should be welcomed and valued by their colleagues and the firm. This includes providing a range of inclusive benefits and wellness offerings for transgender employees, including a gender-agnostic harassment policy, gender-neutral washrooms, same-sex partner benefits, and parental leave irrespective of gender and or caregiver status. A lot of corporate companies are committed towards adopting these inclusive measures, but where I feel more work needs to be done is definitely sensitization. Bringing a change to the work culture is of utmost importance, and sensitizing staff about unconscious or unintended bias is of precedence. Learning the importance of using right pronouns, being aware and respectful of diverse gender identities and expressions will ensure a more inclusive and work environment. At the same time, establishing an immediate escalation matrix if any homophobia or transphobia is experienced and a zero tolerance policy are very important. Your commitment in creating and sustaining a diverse and inclusive work environment must be absolute.
Namaskar. My name is Simran Sheikh and I am one of the trans activists based in New Delhi. Today we come up with this beautiful hashtag and very important hashtag that trans life matters. Indeed, it is so important that our recent times does not include trans people in their workforce or given an equal opportunity to be as fellow human beings, and hence we are coming up with a hashtag based in India saying trans life matter. Do you support?
Include gender identity and sexuality as subjects in medical, nursing and paramedical disciplines for undergraduate and postgraduate students and professionals.
आमर सामाजिक लिंग और सामाजिक लिंगर अभिव्यक्ति जहाँ हेउथा ना कहीं उभय सरकारी और बेसरकारी स्तर में थिबा समस्त प्राथमिक स्वास्थ्य केन्द्र आरंभ करी स्वतंत्र स्वास्थ्य केन्द्र पर्यंत समस्त चिकित्सालय रे भेदभाव विहीन एवं उचित स्वास्थ्य सेवा पाइबा अमर अधिकार
பாலின மாற்றுக்கு தேவையான சிகிச்சைகள் மருந்துகள் மற்றும் ஹார்மோன்ஸ்கள் இலவசமாகவும் மற்றும் காப்பீடு திட்டத்தின் மூலமாகவும் அனைத்து மருத்துவமனைகளும் எங்களுக்கு எளிதாக கிடைக்க வேண்டும்.
Include T as a gender marker in the OPD and IPD application forms of hospital.
Being transgender is not a mental health illness. I am a transgender. I am born free with my mind, I am born with my body, and I am born free with my soul. My name is Abhinahir. I am the transgender activist of India. And today I am here to talk about it. A very important aspect. Stop conversion therapy. Trans lives matters. Thank you.
Ensure safety of transgender, gender non-conforming children in need of care and protection under the Juvenile Justice Act.
મારું નામ પ્રેમ છે. હું વિકલ્પ સંસ્થા સાથે જોડાયેલો છું અને હું એક ટ્રાન્સમેન છું. મારો કહેવાનો મુદ્દો એ છે કે જે ટીજી એક્ટ આવેલું છે જેમાં જો કોઈ સામાન્ય સ્ત્રી સાથે યૌન શોષણ થાય છે, શારીરિક શોષણ થાય છે તો તેના માટેની સજા છે 7 વર્ષ સુધીની હોય છે. જ્યારે કોઈ ટ્રાન્સજેન્ડર વ્યક્તિ સાથે શારીરિક શોષણ થતું હોય છે તો ત્યારે એના માટેની સજા ઓછી કેમ, 2 વર્ષ અથવા તેથી ઓછી કેમ, એ જાણીને મને ખૂબ જ દુઃખ થાય છે કે યૌન શોષણ તો યૌન શોષણ જ છે, તો સજામાં ફેરફાર શું કામને. મારી માંગ એ છે કે કોઈ સામાન્ય સ્ત્રી સાથે યૌન શોષણ થાય કે કોઈ ટ્રાન્સજેન્ડર વ્યક્તિ સાથે થાય તો બંનેમાં સજામાં સમાનતા હોવી જોઈએ.
Hi, my name is Zainab Patel. I wish to remind government and all of the duty bearers that everyone is born free and equal in rights and responsibility. This includes transgender persons. As you go ahead in the implementation of the protection of transgender persons' rights to the various planned interventions, program and legislative actions, we implore you to base these interventions in human rights based approaches. Leave no one behind. Thank you.
ट्रांस लाइव मैटर की बात करते हैं तो हम सबको पता है कि हिस्टोरिकली हमारी कम्युनिटी बैकवर्ड है और हमारे कम्युनिटी को हमेशा वंचित रखा गया है. तो जो भी योजना है, जो योजना औरतों के लिए बनी हुई है, जो SC/ST कम्युनिटी के लिए बनी हुई है, जैसे कि PDS स्कीम हो गए और हाउसिंग स्कीम हो गए, इन सारे स्कीम्स में ट्रांसजेंडर लोगों को राइट होना ज़रूरी है. ये सारे स्कीम्स ट्रांस लोगों को भी मिलना बहुत ज़रूरी है.
Ensure transgender survivors of family violence are included in the one-stop shelters and other provisions under the Domestic Violence Act. যে সকল ট্রান্সজেন্ডার মানুষেরা নিজ নিজ পরিবারের দ্বারা নির্যাতনের শিকার হন তাদেরকে ওয়ান স্টপ শেল্টারের আওতায় অন্তর্ভুক্ত করতে হবে এবং নিশ্চিত করতে হবে ডোমেস্টিক ভায়োলেন্স অ্যাক্টের অন্যান্য বিধানগুলির আওতায় যাতে তারা আসেন. My name is Santa Khurai and I am Anupi Manvi from Manipur. Manipur is a state in the northeast region of India. We have witnessed the constant global development. However, the issues of transgender and narrative of transgender are still keeping undercover, and I question whether in the development transgender peoples are there or not. So I would like to request to the central government of India to ensure a transgender person have the same civil rights as cisgender heterosexual person, including property, inheritance, adoption and recognition of relationships.
End discrimination, harassment and violence against transgender persons by police and jail authorities, including providing separate cells for trans persons.
Okay, thank you very much. Big hand to all the community members, many of whom are here today, whose voices are there in this video. And many of the points articulated by the community members here are actually in there in the Trans Act and rules. I request my colleague Randhoni to speak about what we have been doing in Manipur before the Act and rules came, primarily trying to implement the NALSA verdict of 2014 in its entirety. Over to you, Randhoni.
Thank you, Ramki. I did my terona oina ngangzage ngasidi. First of all, I would like to show my respect to all the dignitaries present from all the departments. Then aigi nung siraba community ichininaw mayam aigi icha gumba suyam yawe community singse hojikti, because I have become a very old person who have been working with them for so long, and they are like a figure of mother-daughter figure is there, mother-son figure is there with me and them. Very briefly, hujik mamang da su akoi Sir Sadanandana X ki matang da yam thambirame ko. X na kari hairi, it has been kai hai tare state sida or state natraga central government ta X na transgender ki welfare ki damakta taugadaba or transgender the discrimination lairagana kari penalty pi bana haibana chingba me ama thambirame. Si singse lo in subsal laga akoi na X si tholok tringe mamang da akoi mamang da Madam Soroja Yaubiri, Tamo Biram Yaubiri, we have been working with State AIDS Control Society, Social Welfare Department, whichever department concerned oiba singse akoi na ek ama laitringai phawba akoi koi change laga hotna yeba with cases. Suppose case ama tholok bata with that case akoi na che laga hotna yeba, because adui matam dura di ek su tholak hideba. Aduna 2014 ki NALSA judgment lakhiba matam dadi yam chawba recognition ama pi ko. Any individual mana self-determination na identify tawzabayai as a transgender, as a male person or a female person. Adugi potsi lakpa matamda akoigi gender gi affidavit ama lawbayai ba. Sigi affidavit si akoina NALSA gi judgment sina tool oina sizinaraga sigi background sida lauram meba for the community. Magi identity se proof tauna bai damakta we take that particular affidavit. Adu utlakanda magi Aadhaar dani khangde, bank account dani khangde, PAN dani khangde change toning ma mayam se tauram me. That was after 2014 gi NALSA gi verdict to lak matamda. Adumain taudana akoi se thengkhang khudingi akoi na ngasi taujariba state level sigumba community as well as stakeholder gi interaction se. This is the third time with Masalsa in 6 years. 2016 da ama tawzakre ko 2018 da so ama tawzakre akoi na si yam toina tawri bagi maram se karino haibada akoi yam toina unaba am so darkar lai heba, because case ama khak lakpa matamda adu do chelaga adu gi case to intervene tawrakanda education gi line da nebu khangde, health nebu khangde, adu khatang tawbaduna yaraktaba state ki oiba policy ama or department amada policy ama semba or inclusion ama lahan base yamna darkar leibagi ne koina siguma meeting se toina tawzari se. Ado haujikti ngasai gi Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019 lakhi badai di magi affidavit lawbagi process se khitang amuk change tawre. Process on change tawbanate the wording in the affidavit. Wording irakadaw affidavit ki wording se hana NALSA da base tawraga ibasi haujikti ek sina as per the act EU haina moigi line ahumari tawdana pi rehaba ko sigi act se akoina with all the district legal services authority akoiga work tawminariba singsidgi lawyer singsida share tawdana we are helping the community to get the affidavits, because sigi affidavit se transgender certification tawba matam the affidavit se is a requirement never mandatory document oeba aduiduna sigi potsi ai akoi ichin naw mayam angang sing community friends sing icha sing mayam yori se loimak so khanga bane anambana, because that is very much required. Sigi affidavit se yaw the taradi certification ki process ta moise document ama wadli haina reject torokpagi chances layeba. So sini ko certification aduga certificate se kanana pi doino haibada hujikti online da oina tawe India gi oina portal lama tho e transgender portal ina sida changa kanda khatang kupi khitang complicated oi akoi help tawdaba yade ko sigi online si fit in tawna matamda aduna magi ming nung kari krase loin fill up tawra matungda magi pamjaba ming mana oningba ming or oningba gender du affidavit na utlani affidavit se upload tawgadabani. Then on top of that magi photo ko aduna chingba mayam ama akoina online se da upload tawra matamda district singse the district administration moina moigi portal to the login amamam semaga district singsina loin hangjarakanda verify tawgadabane. verify tora matungda district magistrate na sign toraga if everything is fine magi certificate se pigadabane ba sigi pot se akoi side di yam nauri ba koi huji phawda Manipur da certificate phangba amta yaudri but process ti khara khara hore IMPHAL West ta khara hore IMPHAL East ta di DC akoi unazar matam da DC na aya ba pire e thazal lo na ko moi gi portal da moi login hange na adumai na toraga how bada ngai re e ba sigi process se aduna sigi pot si kari gino ha bada कहीं से सर्टिफिकेट से याद आता दी एक सिगी मतुंगी ना वेलफेयर स्कीम्स में आमा प्रोविजन में आमा लाख पे आए बट whom to give कना द पीदो नो we have to give to the right person no अदुना सिगी पोची कितंग emphasize तौनिंगी and कहीं से तुम दरकार ले है ना खले को district magistrate IMPHAL कहीं से invite तौज़ा बने तो कितंग थेंग ना लाख भी गे धारे we got special support from them for a trans person को offline दा Atuba amkhaki angangi ama sembiyo haibada moi process tauri hojipti phangdri but they are in the process of giving it to us aduna akoi thengkhang dum challenges khadi thengnei but si challenges thengnei na koi laptop padi yade ba we have to still go adagi angang singje moi online tawbasira phone da tawba nungaite it's very difficult to upload things from the phone you have to use a laptop to properly go into the website and do all this aduna sigi process sine aina kitang highlight tawjaning base nga sigi kaino se tanja si lawjaraga thank you
thank you Randhoni. As the Honorable Deputy Member Secretary spoke earlier, Manipur has been very active in the area of trans rights much before this Trans Act and rules, almost immediately after the NALSA verdict. And full credit for this goes to the trans community leaders and visionaries from Amana and ITA who made this possible. So I'd like to give a round of applause to them. Yeah. So, for example, I think a lot of hospitals right now, district hospitals are having T as a gender marker. They're having trans-specific restrooms. For a lot of people from the trans community coming back to Manipur after the COVID lockdown, there's a trans quarantine center that was established here. Then Manipur is only the second state in the country to have a transgender welfare board that includes trans men. Apart from Kerala, because most of the transgender welfare boards in the country are conceptualized with the Kinnar or Hijra or trans feminine community in mind. And Manipur, thanks to a very vibrant and active trans men community and support from trans women activists like Shanta, have had this inclusive transgender welfare board. We really hope that board will be active and will take efforts to implement the Trans Act and rules. I will not take very much time, but I would like to make a small correction, sir, in your presentation about the change of gender identity from male to female or female to male. And to give you a little bit of background, you're absolutely right that the Trans Act talks about a certification of surgery needed for change from male to female or female to male. But after the Trans Act came out, there were a lot of protests from the transgender communities across the country. Some of the really distinguished activists and leaders like Abhina here have been really involved in the fact that the Trans Act was not compliant with the NALSA principle of self-determination of gender identity. So as a result, the trans rules were then drafted and further modified into the final trans rules that were released in September last year. So there, they have clarified and they've given a set of instructions which is different from the rules, from the Act. So specifically, the Act said if you want to change from male to female or female to male, you need proof of surgery. Whereas the rules, and this is also there in the handout in the text box on the first page, if the transgender person wants to identify as male or female, then the person concerned has to furnish a certificate of medical intervention from the medical superintendent or chief medical officer where they have obtained care. That is in contrast to the wording of the Act. The rules clarify that medical intervention does not mean surgery only, but can be any gender-affirming medical intervention undertaken by an individual to facilitate their transition to their self-identified gender, including but not limited to counseling, hormonal therapy, and surgical intervention if applicable, or if any. Thus, it can include any one of the following: even if a trans person has a gender incongruence letter. Gender incongruence is the latest psychiatric classification of what was formerly considered gender identity disorder. So gender incongruence is the new preferred term by the World Health Organization in the recognition that transgender identities are very much a natural variation and should not be considered a disorder. So there is a letter called gender incongruence which can be given by a psychiatrist after clinically assessing the client. Again, there's no physical or medical examination. If you have this gender incongruence letter itself, that will suffice to change identity from male to female or female to male. Or you can get a letter from a physician stating the client is on hormone therapy, or you can have a medical certificate relating to gender affirming procedures, including surgery. And of course, the letter can be issued by any medical institution, whether hospital or clinic, private or public, in rural areas or urban areas, or even from overseas. I would like to highlight this because currently there are a lot of challenges in different parts of the country in understanding and implementing the Act. For example, in Tamil Nadu, which is the state I come from, the government authorities from the Social Welfare Department, they read the Act and they did not read the rules. And they instituted a clinical examination board in every district where the district headquarters hospital or medical college hospital would do a very detailed medical examination, including the breasts, whatever genitals are there, lower abdominal scan, many kinds of procedures which are invasive and most importantly counter to the spirit of NALSA. So we had to escalate it to Madam Radhika Chakravarti at the Ministry of Social Justice in Delhi, who then issued a notification to the state of Tamil Nadu that such procedures should not be done. Self-identification is sufficient, and if you have a medical intervention letter like a gender incongruence certificate, that's all you need to change gender from male to female or female to male. So while you all are starting out here in Manipur, I would respectfully submit that please take a look at the rules and see that the rules depart from the Act in a few important places, including this medical intervention letter. Now, what Sati, what Amana, and what Ita have been doing for the past 4-5 years is the gender identity certificate, which is basically an affidavit which they have found very useful to change in the name and gender in Aadhaar card, PAN card, ration card, etc., etc. And what the Trans Act has come out with is a variant of that. But fortunately, all those gender identity certificates have not gone waste. We have been able to use it here. And the good thing about the Trans Act and rules is that they say people who have changed their name and gender prior to the date of enforcement of the Act do not have to do anything retrospectively. That still remains. So with this I'll stop, and thank you very much to the distinguished guests and community members who are here, and we look forward to questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ramakrishnan and Srimati Randhoni Larikembam from Sati for providing the experience related with the transgender certification process as per the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019 and Rules 2020, and providing few insights on the gender identification certificate. With this, I would like to request Srimati K. Saroja, Deputy Director, Social Welfare Department, Government of Manipur, on the topic Role of Transgender Welfare Board Manipur towards implementation of the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019 and Rules 2020. With this, I would like to request Madam to kindly come on the dais.
Good morning, everyone. Mayambo Han Maktada Kuramjari. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer, Masalsa, Sati Amana Neta, for inviting me in this important state level workshop on the implementation of transgender persons right protection of rights Act 2019 and Rules 2020. And I'm given to my topic is the role of the Transgender Welfare Board Manipur towards towards implementation of this act and rule. As the among the resource person mayamnasu adum we in the in Manipur, before the act and rules have come up, we have already done so many activities because we have so many active transgender community persons here around. We are lucky for that. And as you all know, and you are all aware of the landmark judgment of Honorable Supreme Court, which was passed on 15th April of 2014, which gave 9 recommendations to the central government and the state government for implementation in their respective states, which includes most of the line departments which are supposed to work for the welfare and protection of the rights of this transgender community. And for that purpose, for effective implementation of that recommendations and in compliance to that judgment, the state government constituted a transgender welfare board where all the administrative secretaries of the line department. When I say line department, it includes health, education, labor department, TD and Hills, then labor department, and so on. So apart from that, we have representatives from the transgender community. We have representative from Sati, Amana, and Ita. This is the beauty of that board, constitution of that board, where the voice or where the opinions and the problem faced by the community can be placed before the board, and they have their opportunity to discuss it with all the stakeholders. And in that landmark judgment, as we all know, the transgender person has been recognized as the third gender, and they are given the rights to decide their gender identity, and the state governments are directed to recognize their identity. And it also directed the state governments to recognize them as socially and economically backward classes, and to give them opportunity to grow and to protect their rights also. And I'll just highlight when was this Transgender Welfare Board constituted. It was constituted on 1st August 2016, and its first meeting was held on 22nd November 2016, and in that first meeting, the board has recommended the department to constitute a committee to see that the transgender community have an identity card to avail to access to all the schemes available in different departments. It is not the sole authority or responsibility of the social welfare department alone to implement the schemes or policies. It is the duty of so many, as I had mentioned, and all of them are in the board. So we were recommended to constitute a committee, and subsequently we constituted, even we work out the procedure to go through how the transgender get the identity card so that they can avail with all the accessibility to the schemes and programs of implemented by different departments. But we cannot unfortunately, we could not go further since the board was headed by the Honorable Minister, and due to the tight schedule, we could not have further sitting also. So the board term of the board was 3 years, so it was expired, and it has been reconstituted again in 2019, and it is again headed by the principal administrative secretary of the Social Welfare Department, and all the members are still there, only the chairperson is changed. And as the objective of the Transgender Welfare Board, the board may discharge the duty to carry out on the depth study, suggest measures that can be taken up by the government to ameliorate the parameters that are to be implemented by the different departments. So I don't need to say much on this because the previous resource person have already spoken on the roles of different departments in implementation of the Act and rules. I will not go through that again. So I think it is very important and foremost very crucial to make this board active and see that the provisions of the Act and rules are implemented in the true spirit. And we have other schemes and programs which are not funded by the state government but centrally sponsored scheme. As we all know that we have financial crunch, we don't have much resources in the state, we cannot implement many schemes in the state. So we are depending on the centrally sponsored scheme in most of the programs also, not only this transgender. And in most of the centrally sponsored scheme, the funding pattern is 90:10. But in this program, in the umbrella scheme which was launched by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, which have 5 sub-schemes, the funding pattern is 75:25. We have many a time proposed the state government for allocation of this 25%, but still we could not get that approval. I think if the ministry could give us the 90% central share, then I think the state government will not find much difficult in implementation of the scheme. And these schemes, I don't know whether you are aware it or not, we have 5 sub-schemes where we include even the pension scheme to transgender, financial assistance to parents of transgender, pre-matric scholarship, post-matric scholarship, and financial assistance if any transgender persons wants to go for skill development. We are not able to implement these important schemes due to financial position of the state government. So I think we need to look at that area also. Let's propose together to the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment of India to enhance the central share so that we get the schemes are implemented in the state very effectively. And I don't have much to say other than that it is you who are supposed to give the in-depth knowledge to the Transgender Welfare Board. We have these representatives. So And we need to have more interaction sessions, consultation meet like this with the stakeholders, since the act and rules are very new and most of the stakeholders are not aware of the provisions. And it is our duty, not only the social welfare department, not only the government stakeholder, it is the duty of each and every one of us to give respect, to have a transgender sensitive environment in the community. And with these words, let me conclude here, and I'll be here to answer any questions. If you have any doubt or any queries, I'll be here for you. Thank you.
Very thank you, Madam. Respected Madam Saroja, Deputy Director, Social Welfare Department. Madam na yamna chumlaba hidi akhoi yamna as part the ek ki matungina so akhoi Transgender Welfare Board ki function si yam dakar oirakpa, as well as Madam na update amazu pibira me ko like reconstitute we have ki amasu yamna akhoi yam nungaijai, as well as akhoi ki Madam na haijariba mayam challenges mayam amasu haibira me have the financial problem na iba kotpa mayama adu still awaba mayam thingna bida Madam akhoi ki site ki su organizing committee ki site ki su katang sida yengbiyo haina su and request tawjari, as well as akhoi ki Hiv pension manga 5 pension disu dum katang amtang wor su khara power like most needy the kangalaga because yam nungai haina so in Madam da haijari ko. In continuation akhoi gi mathang ki session jidi akhoi gi ka committee ki site ki su akhoi sharing session maza ama leijai aduna mayam su amdum akhoi gi aina mayam da request tawjari ko katang poning chang na tabiu mayam katang wari chaning boy gadi mapan to sabiu plus akhoi gi program sida yamna disrupt tawe ko si kana comment bizare aduna aina ma request tawjari yamna attentive oin tabiu ko ado aina sigi akoi community perspective se akoi na health ki matang do oire na to ki education ki matang do oire ado any crisis ki matang do oire student protection ki matang do oire su aina si now mayam community mayam de ki kitang ka khotchage ko aina ahambada I would like to call upon Kambuga Golmei koi ki sigi matang da magi kitang site ki ko haining ba kitang haina ba ina ko request tawjari. Please welcome Kambuga Golmei.
Hello everyone. My name is Kambuga Golmei. I ming se hujikani hujikti I se Jenpui kaure. Aduna I se hujik se sathi do aina consultant oina lezapne I hujik se. I gi haizage heredi ko I gi se khoi gi hill area hai batare ko hill site gi akhoi se akhoi di hujik se IMPHAL area do already anam se akhoi se state level consultation workshop on implementation of the Transgender Person Protection of Rights Act 2019 and Rule 2020. Anam se IMPHAL area do oiro khoi dem anam te si yam pang thok pire adu se akhoi hill site di si se anam se yamna yaudre haibadi khoi se ek nil oire ba haibadi khoi se hill side di khoi se trans yam ji leira adu rasu khoi se program pi biningai leisa da ba natraga khoi se dal sa gi masal sa gi through di khoi se sumba sensitization program buma pi bi ba khoi ge sia khoi si mating yam pa me adu side gi government sector gi side so private sector gi NGO rom di so khoi se sum ai support yam pam se haibadi khoi hill side rom di so khoi se yam leizere ba haibadi khoi sum ma khang da gi family rom di gi natraga khoi gi society rom di gi asi se idea se leitre aduna khoi se dalsa gi site gi any government sector gi masal sadi gi khoi se support yam na pamje aduna ai gi friends hayo hairadi khoi se anamadi karisu family gi society gi yada be anam be gi se moi se underground ko matang ba phausu directly yaurabane si se mayum digi phu be gi chai be gi khoi di Christian rom de lakbani na khoi se trans ma kai se anamati yade ba aduna moi se phong to pangam za da ba moi se aduna anamasi seng na haizade moi se underground side the chang basum yaw zare si se aduna haizare gi dum thank you.
Thank you, Zenpui. Maroina akoina Zenpui na hiding is like akogi any scheme or like legal services or IMPHAL area that are accessible or the Pangidana line over. But in the hilly areas like Chandilgi, like Moregi Mapadasu, I'm trans women, Mamale, Biban, Skum Mam say. Like Magi Christian essay Christian Moina Sumogi, like Siki Transgender, support of the Baladana. Aduna Mara Moira can even underground as Messi report, don't case labor. Mangragas, even Magi life city to get to Oga kinda Kantoga like Dugumagi that Ogi, Magi case curse Dum Lake. Plus Aduga awareness program like legal service authority where the Dalsagi so Adugima Pado, Hili areas, Gahoning, having Magi session period. I'm very thankful. Aduga Kukimakata Pasidi. Transmen ki I would like to call upon Apan Morang Tem Magi Tang Magi Canada Health ki issue the Tang sharing to by request of Zari. Please welcome Apan Morang Tem.
Thagatsari, Madam Sabana. Ahan Bamatagda Lakpidi by invitees, Amasung Timbiri by Kwai Kudimakpo, Ikok Nona Ikai Kumdaba Uchari. Ngasigi workshop state level consultation workshop on implementation of the Transgender Person Protection of Right Act 2019 and Rules 2020. Ngasigi workshop asida mapum pahan biriba khudimapusu aina ikai khumnaba uchari aduga ai isamak transmen ama oina aigi life ta haiba tare aduga aigi health issue health ki matang da kari kari aina aigi ngasi bawa laiba life sida kari kari journey thengnarakpa amasung kari kari challenges thengnarake khara thamjage mayamda ahan bada akoi si transgender person ama oirurabanina transmen oiba yai transwoman oiba yai akoi si akoi gi health ta hai tare ne correction adum tawgadaba leirabaneba haidi akoi hormone therapy tawrokpa yai natrana surgery tawrokpa yai si akoi adum trans ama oirurabanina si akoi gi lengdraba akoina suksudana tawragadaba thabak amani aduna masida ahanba matada aina akoina hormone therapy tawba oiro natrana surgery tawba oiro masida akoina ihan hana darka ori si GID haidi gender dysphoria certificate si yamna darka oi masi si loge haiba taragadi akoina psychiatrist doctor ama consult tawraga magi consult ki makada akoina sigi certificate si phangdoini masida aina thengnajarak pasi aidi Dr. Leninda ai consult tawrai aigi GID certificate lobagi matang sida ai tha taruk supna sarda consult tawraga ai tha taruki matungda aigi kano si certificate si phangibani masigi matang sida aigi parents ki concern ama changi matamduda aigi parents ti aingonda accept tawdaba haitare aina tawdoiba pochi moi accept su tawde adubu sonakanda doctor nadi aigi parents ka amuk tang oirbasu unadaba taragadi aigi certificate si piroi haiba sigi matang sida ai parents ta aduki matik haidi almost 1 month kumba thingdai haitare aigi parents sida chatlusi wari sabiu ai certificate si darka oi haibagi sigi naina basida adu lastly aigi ima puraga chatli adu matamdu da aigi parents aigi imana so dum hai any signature haidi aigi responsible tau haiba taragadi ma tau banga moi hai aba haidi adubu tabomaktabu unabagi di unarage hai aduga chatlaga adumai toraga parents ga unahallaba matungda ai adum ikui dana aigi certificate si phangbi masigi matang sida aina thamjaningi si haibadi parents na yaba khara su yaure ado yadaba su khara su adum yawi ado sungya yadaba parents doctor ga sungu unau haiba yadaba parents makai si akoi gi sigi transmen natra transwoman si akoi gi surgery natra na akoi hormone therapy si tauba phangaroidra haiba si akoi community gi marakta gi jo hangba yaure eba sungu unaba yaroidaba unaba yadaba yaurok pasida asigumba gi matang sida haidi karamba mawongda haidi kano tawraga moida su haidi sumba khudung chabasi phangadagi haibadu khidang aina consult tok jahanninge aduga mathang tarak pasida aina haijaning basi akoi gi community ki side ta aina thengna jarak pada haidi akoi gi ai transmen ama oina akoi gi di hormone si akoi kano inject kapi akoi ko 15 days ta kapa yawi adagi 21 days akoi dose si amaga manade masida haidi moina sense tawning bado adugi apamba duna hemanda haidi doctor consult si tawdabida ima naba bainagi karamba kapke ga hangaga adum kapki ba haitare na सिगुम्बसी तौजहनिंगदे हाइदी अकोइगी एक लाए अकोइ ट्रांसजेंडर रूल्स लाए सिगी मतंग सिदा हाइदी अकोइ इसा खक्ता नते अकोइना करेक्शन तौदोइसी अकोइगी डॉक्यूमेंट्स दसु लोइनम करेक्शन तौदोइनी सिगी मतंग सिदा अकोइ अदु तौगे हाइबा तारगेदी अकोइगी हौजिक मयामना हाइगिबा अकोइगी डॉक्टर ने पीबा अकोइगी केनोसी लोइनम एटेस्ट तौरगा ऑनलाइन सिदा थारगा अकोइगी सर्टिफिकेट सिसु फंगदोइनेबा सिगी पार्ट सी याउदबा तारगदी अकोइ डॉक्यूमेंटेशन दा अमुका यारक्तबा तारगदी नंगोंदा यामना हाइदी तुंगदा यामना कंफ्यूज होइबा यामना प्रोसेस सि चथबा यादबा कनो अमदा लैदोइनेबा यामना चैलेंजेस होइबा थेंगनदोइने अदुना अइना अकोइ कम्युनिटी मखैदा हाइजनिंगबसी हाइदी सिगी पार्ट सी पेशेंट होइना हाइदी मतम बुद्धि संगी मतम संगगसु सिगी पार्ट सी कांथोक्तबिदा नोई अपामबदुना हेमलगा अदुमाइना हेक्ता अमदगी हंगागा कंसल्ट तौदबिदा हेक्ता तौबगी पोसी तौबिगनो अइगी इमानबा अमदा अइना थेंगनजगेबा हाइदी ममानबदे हंगागा हार्मोन से अदुम लौग्रबा अदुगा मागी सर्जरी तौबई मतम यौरपा मतम सिदा सर्जरी तौरमदाइदा हौजिकी GID सर्टिफिकेट से हंगेबा हंगांदा अकोइ डॉक्टर लेनिंग मनाक्ता चटपा मतमदा याम थीना चैरेएबा अकोइदा कईदौबगी कनागी मखादा नंग हार्मोन से लौरिबनो कनो तौरिबनो हाइरगा अदुमाइना यामना अचौबा प्रॉब्लम थेंगनगी हाइतारे अदुना अकोइगी कम्युनिटी मखैसिसु सिगुम्बा पार्ट मखैसि हाइदि खंगद्रगसु अकोइगी साथी लैरे अदगी इता मना सि लैरिबा मखैसिदा अदुम हंगबदा अदुम गाइड तौगनी अइंगोंदा हंगागसु अकोइना अदुम गाइड तौबा याय अदुना सिगी पार्ट सि अकोइगी हाइदि यामना चुमना चलनिंगे हाइबा तारे अदुगा मखा तारकपसिदा अइना हाइजनिंगबसी ngasi स्टेट की ओइबा लेवल दा अखोइगी अहानबा मणिपुर की ओइना अखोइगी ट्रांसजेंडर सिगी रूल सिगी मतंग दा हाइदी अखोइगी इनवाइटिस मखैसिगा पुन्ना सुमाइना प्रोग्राम तौमिनबसिदा हाइदी अयामनसु लोइनम अखोइगी सि कमाइना प्रोसेस तौगदगे खोरकदगे हाइबसि अयामनसु खंगमनी हाइना खंजरे अदुगा अखोइगी दि ट्रांसजेंडर हाइ तारगदी अखोइसि इसादगी हौरगा एस वेल एस अखोइगी डॉक्यूमेंट्स मखैदेसु लोइनम करेक्शन ने अखोइना तौदोइसि हौबदे लोइबा फावा लोइनम करेक्शन ने सि करेक्शन तौबा मतमसिदा अखोइगी डिपार्टमेंट मखैसिगी यामना दरकार ओएबा अखोइदा यामना हेल्प दरकार ओए हाइदि मोइना ज्ञान दाद्रगदी अखोइना आधार कार्ड अमा कापा मतमदे SDO गी सिग्नेचर चंगे अदु चंगबा मतमदुदा नंग यारो हाइरक तारगदी मा अवेयर ओइदर तारगदी अखोइदा यामना अचौबा चैलेंजेस थेंनबा अदुना अखोइगी सिगी पोसिददी अखोइगी सिगी डिपार्टमेंट हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट की अदे एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट की सोशल वेलफेयर डिपार्टमेंट की सिगी मखैसि पुलप पुन्ना अखोइ ज्ञान तामिनबा अमा चंगेबा अदुना ngasiगी हाइदी थ्रू सिगी वर्कशॉप सिदगी लोइनम ज्ञान तामिनरगा अखोइना तुंगदा तौरकदबा अखोइगी दरकार ओइबा लोइनम डॉक्यूमेंट दा ओइबा याय अखोइ हेल्थ की दा ओइबा याय लोइनम तौरकपसिदा स्मूथली हाइदी याम नुंगाइना हाइदी ज्ञान ताना अखोइदा डिस्क्रिमिनेट तौबिदबा अमसो अखोइदा लक्नबिदबा हाइदी नंगना तौरिबदु हाइदी यामना कइनो तौबा मवोंगदा हाइदी पंगतौ तौबगी मवोंगदा खंदबिदा याम फजना अखोइबु कइनो हाइतारेने हाइदी रेस्पेक्ट अमगा लोइनना अदुम थबक सिंगसि पाइखतपदा अदुम नुंगाइना चटमिनगनी हाइबगी वाखलोंदु थमजबगा लोइनना मतांगसिदा लुसिनजरे
Thank you, Apan Moirangthem. Manasu, Haidi Mangon Thingaba challenges, even experience me, I'm also shared to Bikreko. Like Aquina, Mayam the Su, Chinau the Su, and Hakuna, like community Chinau the Su, Hizer is a Mangon the Thingaba experience, like a doctor, the give like procedure at Tabakanda, like online digi, Natraga, even pharmacy digi, Hanga, Java, Kopamam digi, effect me, I'm also lakpado. Dugumayam to man high say. Duga plus a doctor Lina consult over said even like psychology, some of the consult over Magi prepare minus preparedness the car labor, even Pazana Magi tung the future da so in the by Togi Tangico man high as well as like Masiam challenges and keep even family except the Bakota Magi hormone therapy or even Magi like surgeries or Mutam the Su family support Pang the Bamayama individually man talk challenges Mamasu health sector the Sudum High Big. Thank you upon. Akoigi Makatarak Pasidi, I would like to call upon Bevam Babochandra, well known as Bonita. Aduka Tang sharing to number request of Zari. Bonita, please welcome.
Very good afternoon to you all, and I want to express my whole gratitude to all the dignitaries who are gathering in front of me and who are most importantly my communities. They are the very important persons for this event. we are organizing such an event. It is very wonderful moment for the community people. I would like to thank Sati, Amana, Ita, and all. Sigi function se, we all know that Transgender Welfare Board has been constituted in 2016, but it's been 5 years. But nothing has been changed in Manipur. Central government has directed to implement few schemes for the transgender welfare. But I would like to draw attention, most importantly, the social welfare department here. It is the department who is taking care, who is doing welfare programs for the community. So my same sida 2016 dagi matang lak padagi 16 da national adjustment gi matung ina as per guideline of the national adjustment gi matung ina same sida hojik 2008 2009 transgender act protection of transgender rights act 2019 passed out rule 2020 same matung da social welfare department transgender ki board se amuk reconstitute tawgre moi gi constitute tawbasida chairman hongre board ki hongaba matung sida anoba chairman la aba matung sida hojik leiriba existing board ki keno sina transgender ki welfare ki damakta kadai phawa thabak tawribagi habas ki update se akhoida phangdaba haiti gazette thokraba matung sida amuk meeting je aina khanbada anira kumba phamamadra adugi matung tabada meeting phamdaba adagi welfare lay program hairaga akoi so it is very true that our state is very poor. We don't have resources to do something welfare program for specific program for transgender. Adu it's okay yare adu taraga su lairiba hana lairiba seri list of existing schemes singu da revise tawrakanda transgender se inclusive oiba service ama welfare program do da transgender se inclusion ohen base sigi apamba. I would like to express Sigi apamba se aina haijaningi aduga maruina transgender ki issue hairaga not only social welfare katanate health education adagi yam leire legal sikuma mayama legal ga mari leina na tawbaduna ngasi legal gi dipa keno sika fraternity sika pulakanda masal saga pulakanda masigi program je silla kanjida yamna fruitful law department je khara sensitive oya. After doing a series of advocacy, the law department come up with an positive outcome that transgender and the PLHIP community has been included in the pre-legal beneficiary list of the Masalsa ki pre-beneficiary list si the transgender sing se lem na service pang baya baga ya ba law department na tawraga gazette notification thokanda maji yahan gre include tawgre adumai tawdana atopa masa initiative masa lorok pase department ki level lagi it will be very thankful from the community side. Adu suman lau haningi ako na health ha ngasi health ki deputy amta lakta base sisu. I feel sorry about that. They are not sensitive towards. I will take that. I will say openly that the health department do not take transgender health much seriously. Adum hainingi aduga and I respect Madam Saroja sir, deputy director joint director of MEX sir Abhiram, and I don't know the name of the madam, but I will keep in touch with you all for the future collaboration for the welfare program of transgender community. And sumain tawdana leiriba department sing dagi mi sing silak piraga ikoi transgender gi issue se khangminnaraga kadai phawba aigi level dagi tawba yabage haibado adu khanganingi khangbagi tanja ama lobi base lakpi base matam kai thokpagi damakta aina su yamna thaga chaningi aduga leiriba issue sida health haraga akoina leise transgender gi health gender dysphoria si am kana moina common oina high gender dysphoria leiri ai gender change tongninge natraga ai je hormone replacement therapy tongninge haiba. Not only that adug natabada atopa health gi complication mayam ama leiri ba khoida manungda khangdaba ada HIV is also one of health issue for the global issue, and it's also affects and infect transgender community. This is one of issue which is that unforgotten issue epidemic. But adubo hoji adu khoisu khandaba yade. This is aduga sumain tawrakan sida maruin education department aina survey ma akoina baseline survey ne hek taweba before implementing a program while I was working with Sati, and still I am working with Sati. But in every project, before the proper implementation of the project, we are doing the baseline survey to regard health, education, legal, and yeah, livelihood and other things. Adugi surveys to matam sida transgender ki education ki keno se moi the question hang matam sida masing yam na tholokte ba. Most of the community are not well qualified, they are under metric. Masigi reason se kai gino na khoi na hangkanda hoi financial issue lei basu dum yawi aduga imung manung duna neglect tawbiba family gi negligence academic line da plus harassment bullied in the school environment by the teachers, by the colleagues, by the bandmates kumba mayam si thengnai moi da haide adagi even in the locality when they went to the school in the roadside quaker, they are mocking them. Moi noksan biba karyam na biba adugum mayam taw buduna moi school chat pat talakpa adagi survey je thingna ise school chalakanda they want to keep their hair long, but the principal or the teachers, they are forced to cut their hair. This is also they have been passing such kind of challenges. Admaina dress set pamakta worga so moina nupi dress phame phare moi okay like tam madu nupi dress set lagadi tam da ya de habalai set lagadi nupi dress set tabida like tam me ko tam me moi adu tam zarga at least some do bokti moi khaksa ge haibane ba moi asama lai jariba after I matriculation dana chaga I 12 pass tawrok anda I trade ama chat ken khanjari ba matam du da I gi physical appearance su am dakar oi ba I gi apamba I gi body se aina apama mong da sem dragadi I gi confidence am mangi ba aina sam sang ga sari shel ga lamjau chat pada I confidence fit oi ba confident to moina loi manghan birani nupa gi dress to ngon da comfortable oi da dress to salaga de I confident to mangi ba adain taw da mi gi self esteem se sum lo tharak pa confident mangak padagi lo tharak padagi sense of belongingness mangak pa siguma mayama adagi scheme da haina gane rural development panchayati rastane kano amal lai diba scheme da kano do Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme do sigi da transgender inclusive oi scheme ji inclusive ti oi reba tawbatabu sigi maru oi ba thodang lauri se lai kai dagi pradhan member sing sineba moi sing sina survey salaga moi lai kai da transgender lai ba sing se amatam enroll tawbi deba transgender ado few ahum bali di phangi Sigi card se kana pai ge na ina survey se sapma matam hangma matam da ahum na chaga mari it's very few numbers ad moi mya da tholakpani adusu tholakpa matam sida moi gi bank account gi maming mana da maming su transgender di hairaga transgender oi bagi moi da priority piraga yum du gi household ama lai na moi si yauri ne ba yauk ta ga su moi gi gender identity je transgender oi na yauram da ba lekai gi du gi pradhana di ma transgender ne di happy di ne ba aduga ma transgender ge identity card yauk da proof am ta lai ta ba mi se oiramba trans te oi doini ko genuine trans ni but in the document they were in as a male male ama wena dum lai ba sigumba dum lai adumai taw dana aduga karai dagi ho ba sila ino har kanda akoi transgender ge identity card se hojik ne government su yam tap initiative yam tape ba all the time government na tawba kano sing initiative sing dia khoina series of advocacy after sensitization taw jigai di hek yada ba moi the government gi kai gumba initiative am ta lorok ta baje si jam lai bak thini ngai ne ba government ga kai gumba transgender gi kai facility ma open tawre hai ta ga transgender me am there will be mushrooming adu amain to la kada pasi loina scatter tawra lai ba adagi mobility gi sang siang wang ek transgender si imung manung da harassment tawra banina beauty parlor da plus settle tawra hek lai mina bagumba adi mi amagi mayum da hek lai bagumba pula khara ya ba khara comfortable oi ba mafam da lai bagumba adugumba si am tawgal le ba dai tawdana survey lak pa matam da su adum thengna da ba hai tare le kai du da even kano da su adum thengna da ba yaw ba voter enrollment gi moina lak pa matam da su yum du da ma do lai ram jabani ma gi identity do imung du na di masa do trans le haning da bani na masa do thengna jabani na even kano census tasu adain tawdana transgender masing je dum lo la ore lai ba Manipur se adu moina census tawba matam da census se transgender gi oina census ki design je specific oina design tawda di yaroi da pot ama lai ba moi gi se adu gi pot si ju khitang sensitive oi haningi adagi adune akhoina kai da moi je phangada gi haba se yum da salaga yum da tawbuduna di it will never able to cope numbers of transgender sing da kai da lai no moina kai da puli haba je thi doctor ga di anama matam da phangoi adu gum pot su yam lai aduna government na si je tongan ba ama hokdoktra ga di hokdok pa haise transgender ki tamak hoin noina sigi scheme ji da moi yahon gi haita di sigum ba mafam ji da satlo adu du ga ne mi ama thawaina mathau pangthok pa darkar oi matam mang ba darkar oi ba nda traga su sarkar open to tham ba darkar oi ba matam kharadi open to ga sigi scheme ata scheme haisi maktabu amu one time kano lo benefit phangra di loi ba scheme su myam le aduga permanent oina adum long life oina ensure tauba scheme su mayam le series of scheme sing sina transgender sing se krai krai di yaw bayai haibana sing ba thidok minaraga plus lady ba health service sing sida kai kai da pi bayai haibana sing ba mayam se thidok minaraga akhoi punna thabak tong minaraga chotharaga lady ba mayam se adu phi sha ba singi akhoi na transgender ha ga beauty parlor da stereotype tawra sum lai ba se si syam nungai te ba transgender marak ta su tailoring to ba mayam am le ba phi sha bi transgender le ba mokoi manipur da like da Nagaland da sat pa transgender migrant tau ki ba mayam am su le ba transgender migrate tau ki ba phi sha ba ki Nagaland da lai ki ba mayam am su lai akhoi na sum theng na ba da dai tau da moi ki tongan tongan ba diverse skills se explore tau ra ga ne not only beauty parlor khak tang da na ta ba beauty parlor hai si di adum common oira ba pot ne ba aduna ta ba tongan ba beauty parlor sungoi haita ba tau da ba di ya da na parlor am da sangchal ga tek tek tok chana ba magi earning way to thi ba da beauty parlor da by default adum sangi ba dum lei ba admai to adu ma myam do khanto ga hojik se anoba program pai khat mina si aduna pai khat mina ba matam si da government gi social welfare department gi asoba mating akhoi na ni jarakani mating ju pipi kani haina thajai madam na su mamang da su a lot of effort has been put down by Madam Saroja, Deputy Director of the Social Welfare Department. Madam da koina zum tak patak pajidani Madam sina letter iba mathak ta iba mayam se khoi loi khangi aduna Madam na su yang wana zu hona bi du makhata na su Madam na amuka hena su hona bi na ba punna chatmina ba nungai na ba Madam gi saita aina tang thamjare mayam puna makki mayam puna ko introduction round da yauja hu dramina khangja hu dre ko na sakhang mai khang na raga sorry tabak tau mina ji ha bese loi hairaga loi sanjarage thank you all
thank you Bonita Bonita na su yam lan samlapa koi thing bi yam challenging si yam yame ko my challenging se like from the health issue also even from the education gi side gi ko like angang drop out ba school da drop out ba digi even scheme moi tar su ko gi because of ko gi resource later ba digi apply to ba da ya ba plus document mayam sing se ma ga lady ba digi apply to ba da chana da mismatch oi ba mayam ma thaina kre my challenges si yam da jo currently ko gi sinang mayam su face to ri ba si gi challenges sing ko mayam si yam chalo pai thank you akhoi gi mathangi sidi akhoi gi among the trans men akhoi gi jamna like freedom ninga ba trans men ni ma se ma gi ming sawai jam thousal kawi moina ma se like in 2013 da ma se notice cycle to da khoina 8 states ma to do ba da with the team ko like stop violence against women da ma se like 52 days ki da cycle tour jala ka chap ki da ma se one of the awardees su phange ko maya ma ki da khubak how da khusi ko aduga ma se ko national youth award ya mo ina su ko ministry of youth affairs and sport na su ma se government india na su piki adu matam da as well as ko manipur ki site ki su ko youth affairs and sport government of manipur na su ma ki award ma su piki ko aduna ai mang wanda ki ta se tang mo da oiba awa ba thingna ki ba challenge sama please welcome thousand lao
A very good evening to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Masalsa, Sati, Amana, Anita for getting such a great platform where we have a chance to meet and share our experiences. So when we talk about experiences, so aigi mamang dasu aigi marup apan adoidi bonita loi share tau ko aduga transgender person ama oina transgender community gi haibadi khoi experiencing si di haidi sidai sida khoina minute khara hairaga mayam da loina gyan tan basunga moi aduga khoi gi live experience di akhoi tana khangjai ba haidi khoina sei sida wahai khara na phongdo ga du do complete oi roi ba ko ado akhoi hojik kaino aidi bonita gi mamang da marup apan nama akhoi gi transgender person ama oina akhoi gi transition period hai tare ko aidi hormone ka pani khangde surgery ni khangde adugum bagi hai bi khare ko aduga akhoi gi social welfare department adu atopa department aduga bonita na sumyam pan bi khare ai aduga di mo hai ja roge just akhoina ai first education da laksa ge ba hai badi hojik asigi 2019 da pass tau gi ba transgender protection right asigi ek se pass tau dringai mamang da gi so akhoi gi right myam lai jare ba haidi India ki constitution ki matungina article 19 20 21 मैम लई खरे हाइदी right to education right to life अदोइदी अखोई right to हाइदी अखोई इसागी ओइजब अखोई basic rights मैम लई जरेबा अदुगी मनुंग दुगदी अखोई rights तो याव दब्राबा अदो होजिक असिगी एक से पास तौराबा मतुंग दसु अखोई ओइबा education दा लेबा right health की मरी लेनाबा right मैम अदि पीरेबा अदो the question is how far अखोई मणिपुर की स्टेट की कॉन्टेक्स्ट येंगसेबा अखोई मणिपुर की स्टेट लैरिबा सेगा मरी लैनरिबा डिपार्टमेंट अथॉरिटी पुनमक्सिना कदाई फावबोनोबा फंक्शन तौरगा अखोईबु मतेंग पांगबिदोइसे सिनेबा क्वेश्चन से जस्ट इंडिया के गवर्नमेंट अदु एक पास तौग्रे अदु एक पास तौग्रे अखोईदो एजुकेशन दा राइट लैरे अखोईदो हेल्थ दा राइट लैरे अदु नतेबा इंपोर्टेंट से नियम की मतुंग इन दि कइनो इंडिया इज अ डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री याम फजै कइनो रूल दि नियम दि अदो फंक्शन तौरबा आई हुजिक पासपोर्ट ऑफिस ता चट के मणिपुर की आई जेंडर से फीमेल है लेरम मेल दा ओन गे हाइगेबा कई माइनर रिएक्ट तौरकदगेबा अदुगा मोइना फर्स्ट एनी डिपार्टमेंट एनी ऑफिस ता खोइना हान बचंगो मतम दा फर्स्ट थेंगनगदोरिबा मी आइना आइगी हुजिकी तौदोरिबा ngसागी इसागी ट्रांजिशन सिदी आइना ngamjabagi matungina आइगी मेडिकल की ओइबा अदु मैम दो तानादना तौरे फरे डॉक्यूमेंट की मतंग से लाक्सेबा अदु लीगल सर्विस असी अखोई मरी लेनाबा ऑफिस डिपार्टमेंट सिनेबा यामना मरु ओइसे असिदा अखोइगा मोइगा वारी सनाबदा कम्युनिकेशन से गैप यामना लैयब अंडरस्टैंड तौबा ngamदेब फीमेल लगे मेल ओ लगे हाय मतम दा पुरा ngएबा आई चटले पासपोर्ट आई हुजिक बाउता आई पासपोर्ट ता आई चेंज तौद्री आई एमएस आई तमिलनाडु दा तौई अदोइदुगा आईगी हाना आईदी हाइदी आई 2015 दा इंडियन यूथ डेलीगेशन की चलुई अदुई मतम दुदा आई पासपोर्ट लौदबा यादबगी पासपोर्ट लौवेबा आई ओल नेम दा अदो हाना की ओल नेम दा लैबा पासपोर्ट आई हुजिक यूज तौद्रेबा बिकॉज आई हैव ऑलरेडी चेंज माय नेम सो aina mu chennai da apply taweba ko ado hoji corona lakpadagi amka mu stuck tawraga laigreba before that I went to Manipur passport office moina ngonda react tawa matung du da react tawa khutau doi anirak hanna chatningi deba aduga khoi gi name change process adu da after all our surgeries and all ado gazette notification se amna maru oiba tawda basu ya deba ado gazette notification gi damak khoi Manipur publication office da gazette notification chat matam da no idea neba अदोरगदी एक पास तब अखोगी लैरिबा राइट सिंग से अदो एक्चुअली मणिपुर दा लैरिबा डिपार्टमेंट सिंग से मोइना अदुदो अपडेट ओइद्रगदी दुई मरमदा नॉलेज केम लैत्रगदी एक फनेम पास तरोक्सनु राइट फनेम लैसनु खोइददी यूजलेस नेबा ग्राउंड रियलिटी सिनेबा इंपोर्टेंट ओरिसे फजा फजबा एक पास तरोपदो नत्तेबा अदुगा अखोई मणिपुर स्टेट का अतोपा इंडिया की स्टेट का कंपेयर तौरगदी अमरोमदा अखोई सिददी ट्रांसजेंडर दा हरासमेंट लैते अदु लैते मैम हाइरम बयायबा बट अखोई इसागी लिव एक्सपीरियंस दी अखोई न त खंगजै हाइदुनी दो हंदक त यामना रिसेंट ओइना को अखोई जेंडर पॉलिसी एंड बजेटिंग की अनोवा पॉलिसी सेम बैगिता अखोई हाइदी साथी अमनाना हाइबदी अखोई मणिपुर की ओइबा ट्रांसजेंडर सिंग की ओइबा अखोई की ओइबा हक खरा तान बगी दमक त हंदा अनोवा पॉलिसी की द हापेबा को अदोइदुगा अखोई मयामदी अखोइना हाइदी हाप याबदी हापखरे बट अखोइना स्कूल चपा मतम द ड्रेस की मतंग से बोनिताना सो हाइपेट पन बिखरे को अदो आई इसागी दा ओरसु नत्रगा अतोपगी दरसु हाइजरगेबको स्कूल दा आई से आई वाज बोर्न फीमेल अदोरगा दे आई से स्कूल दा ngसागी ट्रांजिशन तौद्रिंगाई मतम दुगदी आई से स्कर्ट सेलगा फनिक सेलगा स्कूल दा चत्तोइनेबा अदु नत्रगा दी आई से लाइक तंब फंगोइदुइदेब अदो आई केम कंफर्टेबल ओइगदागेबा आई से ट्रांजिशन तौद्रिंगाई मतम दा आई से मिनसेल यंगनिंगबा पोइदुइनेबा बिकॉज आई डोंट एक्सेप्ट माय ओन बॉडी and I have to dress like something, you know, which I can never accept. Adoragadi khwaidagi important orise education neba. Education dagi neba haudoise. Akoina if we don't get proper education, how far we can go? How far we can fight for our own rights? Ek myam pastor oksano ai pabada khangdragadi kayam kuina aingonda mi amana explain ta widoinova. Mi sumai mai mathau loina chinjayeba. अदुना एजुकेशन सेक्टर सिदा खोइ मणिपुर दसु लै कोचिंग सेंटर स्कूल ट्रांसमेन नि हारदी नुपा साबनि हारदी एडमिशन पी दबा दोइदी ट्रांस वुमन ओरदी एडमिशन पी दबा अदु अरगदी सिदादी हाइरिबा एक्सनादी हाइरिबा राइट टू एजुकेशन और थबक तौबम दनि खंगदे एनी प्राइवेट सेक्टर और गवर्नमेंट सेक्टर दा लोइनमक लै हाना यस लै अदुबु अखोइना अदुगैदुगा गो थ्रू तौबा मतम ददी अखोइदो अदुम रिजेक्ट चलेबा I class 10 hek pass tawbaga community development ki damakta adum work tawba hore class 11 dagi ni haru yuba kendra da haidi national youth corps oina chahi ani thabak tawre volunteer oina adoidi dum ai se jiribam dagi ni adoido mafam duda adum community development gi oiba haidi health ta oiro education da oiro sports ta oiro macha macha sum tawraga lai aigi achievement aduga gidi aina tawjarpa myam sise sijinaraga ai advantage myam lawwi aina aigi colleague myam international level yogre but ai kari ngamde ai kamau tawba sibok ta yamna wai duga khoi manipur da lairiba system sidi haibadi department yong aina hai sini gazette notification gi damak ta khoi manipur publication office tangte aduga khoi education de ka hujik yamna maru oi se khoi MU da manipur university da khoi transgender cell ama laiba yamna darkar oi aduga adusu khoi transgender person amana khoi chair tawba hai tare ko aduga aina haibadi haijaning badi aroi boina khoi kai hani suggestion haigadra khoi manipur gi oiriba haidi mari laina ba authority department khudimangna haidi lai hana dagi already exist tawraga lairaba akhoi gi haidi rights sing asise sidai sida khara focus tawbiraga haidi function tawbase asise sida kitang haidi concern oi haningi so that we won't face any hazard in like when we're going forward so yamna haidi ngasi sigi matang sida aina matam khara mayam da share to bogi tanja phangjabase yamna nungai aduga mayam puno pom ka na thagachari thank you
A very thank you, Thojal. My God, the thing about challenges, I am also high big damakta. But because of okay time, sikatang sort or rakana, aina kogi last oina koina jeshi like shrambuka kochari magi share mini mangada weba sharing machama to nabako magi like crisis intervention to bakan thing about challenges webako jeshi sina kogi lo shila dabane do gamata kam gano dagi come please come.
A very good evening. I share talk with the boys there. I Bangalore ki I Bangalore thing na experience ki ka khatam zaki bako. Bangalore labor transgender sing se adum haidi 2014 dagi lai Bangalore da aduga 2015-16 bauti pura transgender Bangalore le ba transgender sing pura normal in le rami normal in le habdi mai magi thabak loimak tawraga magi profession me am loimak phajana gyan tan le rami duga after 2018 gi mathang dagi transgender sing se moi se kana tawrokpa haibadi depression na ba yarokpa adagi depression na rakpadagi drugs to ina mahut silakpa moina admaita drug user oirakpa aduguma mayam thengnarakpado adudo adum haidi mayam amana tawraga amana loimak tawbai type ta tawrakpado adudo tawhanningde habadi adum ma adum kamai sorry phaning hadi transgender akhoi kitang mayam nasu kitang confirm am soi bada mayam nasu dum kanu phanam tangang no video na aduna moina dumaina tawido tahoning de duga amana roommate amana taw taraga su roommate amana drug user or su roommate amaduna phajana advice apa pp ba taraga di drug user hojiki seasonal drug seasonal mido adusu farak haidi adumaina afaba advice piradi faragatran khalle adumaina pipiraga adumaina kano taraga tahonninge ado hojiksu adum khara di lairi ado aina ngamag aina mateng pangakpada haragadi moise kano hospital amta da yengba tebako kadi doctor da counseling amta tawdeba ado aina first time moina transgender maming dipalarege ma se aina Bangalore ge nimas puiba nimas sai se hojiki kaino neba koki laying haitare haidide adugumba gi kainodane aina mase pure puraga mase 1 week muk kaino tawe moyada ka emit tawraga laye aduga mado adumai tawraga phari adagi aduma ma phagibadagi hojupudi matang adumaina tawraga phari tar phari ado aina haijaningwadi roommate amana phat haidi kaino tawrena ai roommate amana drug user tawrena aina hekta tawgadabante adumaina tawbada tawbi ganoba haidi yamna phaning bada oiba haidi khangde kama sorry matang sa lesson jarge do yamna kano oina dum lai haidi gyan ta na thabak phajana tawraga adumai tawraga dum lai se Bangalore da dum ko adumai tawraga. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jessie. Actually, mana hariba challenging way base like akhoi transgender da my friend way even depression na bado depression na ra kanda my even drug kumba da addict tum depend tawre dana moi gi awa bado ka thongna bada drug dependent to ba even adu matam da na matam da moina even hostel chapa da zu kari harakani na kijaba stigma zu matam da jaba like awa ba thele ma yam still my friend sum yawe ko akhoi da sum sharing tawe mana thingna ba matam sida like moina sum sigi pochi hanthana yeng bada even moi drug addict way ha kana moi HIV ga lona le ramani kaina habi bagi moi da amkhak le ra ga le basta moi matana self stigma matana isolate toroga lai jabado du moi am su thingni ko mana. Thank you Nancy. Agi makha tarak pasti agi friend arki sujada sinazari.
Thank you Savannah. Makha tarak poina ngasi program se ki kogi stakeholders representatives from various government departments singdagi ngasi program siga mari lainana wahai khara thambina ba ningsingchari ahan bada due to time constraint koi Srimati G Kabita state mission manager MNE Manipur State Rural Livelihood Mission dagi wahai khara thambina ba ningsingchari. Okay, you have.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very happy and delighted at the same time to be part of this program. And I truly empathize with the cause and also the sufferings that have been going on since time immemorial. And on behalf of MSRLM, I vouch that, whatever that we could do from the field level, we will definitely do. And also it has been instructed from the Ministry of Rural Development and RD that it has already been a directive given to all of us, to all the states, that we have to follow this universal social inclusion in our program. So when we start with the program with the objective of elevating poverty from rural areas, so it also includes the transgender as well, because it is not it has been included very recently though, but it is a living example in all the self-help group formation that has been taken place in Manipur. In 4 resource blocks, we have a living example that the transgender has been part of the self-help group, which is mainly for women. But for the past many months that we have done all this work, it has been more than 5 years that we have implemented in Manipur. But in this, we have already included transgender as a major part in all the SAG's activities. And in the group also, we have encouraged the transgender to play a very important role. And to share with you all that we have already started, there's a process in the self-help group where we select some few self-help group members who can impart trainings further on to the community. So in such cases also we have selected specifically the cadre, like the transgender, who can even, you know, replicate this kind of self-help group formation in other areas too. So we have been working very hard to sensitize this issue even at the field level. So from our side, there has not been any, you know, hesitation. Also, we have been supported enough to carry forward this inclusion of transgender, and also like in promotion of the overall promotion of their livelihood activities and to enhance their activities, whatever is going on. And as I would address what Bonita has shared, you know, that you know, that livelihood is one of the major part, you know, to alleviate poverty and also to have a sustainability in their income and income generation. And as she has pointed out rightly, that this parlor, and this is the only area that has been focused mainly for transgender. But I would suggest that in MSRLM, under MSRLM, whatever SIG's formation that has been taken place with all the members, irrespective of, you know, whether that person belongs to any religion, race, or, you know, and transgender, irrespective of that, we have promoted their livelihoods in such a way that, you know, they have come up with having entrepreneurship and quality of entrepreneurship. So we have been promoting through bank linkages and all. So there's an ample opportunity for even the transgender in the rural areas where our MSRLM has been implementing. That's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. In future, we hope that MSRLM would certainly provide support to our trans community in livelihood as well as other poverty elevation schemes. With this, I would like to request Sri Abhiram Mongjam, Joint Director, Manipur State AIDS Control Society, to kindly deliver a few words regarding this program. Sir.
Good afternoon. First of all, I want to thank Manipur State Legal Service Authority and Sathi Amana Inita for organizing such a very important workshop consultation on implementation of the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019 and Rules 2020. For the benefit of our trans community, may I speak in our local language. Ngasigi pangthoiba program se ai community singidamta de amaru ena khali hek hobadagi hona akhoi hemba itagi represent torkana ngangbi khiba aduga amanagi represent tobiraga ngangbi khiba santa khurai aduga yamna sugumba legal matters sigidamakta akhoi gi Manipur State Legal Services Authority ki ikai khumnajariba Deputy Member Secretary Sadan Sorokhaibam yam marik chumna sigi ek si implement torpa matamda implementation da karamba department kari role logadagi haibi matang yam marik chumna adumai thambi khiba yam nuaijai aduga yamna maruina trans ki movement si Manipur khaktang nate all India gi ni haibagi port ama utpoina Dr. Ramchandran Vice President Sathina ma utpi khiba aikhogi minute tara muki film show yam maru ena khali tongan ba issue singda India gi tongan mafam dagi Chennai oigera natraga North East oigera Odisha oigera West Bengal oigera tongan mafam dagi Delhi dagi oigera community na moina kari feel to ge have community ki perspective mayam ma thambi khibdu yam noi aduga aina matang sida haijaning badi particularly when Dr. Ramkrishnan say about the Manipur is the second state where we are having this transgender welfare board in our country. It is because that when the HIV AIDS program started in Manipur, though Manipur started the epidemic with the drug users community, but we cannot neglect, because when the epidemic comes up among the trans community, MSM trans community, there was HIV positive cases also. That's why in 2019, in 1999, we started thinking of doing something for the trans community. That's why Manipur State AIDS Control Society started consultation, and why we could achieve is that time we tried to give message through various means, various media. At that time, one of the popular media is that beauty contest, trans queen contest. Trans queen contest was started in Manipur, and it was a good medium also to spread the message of HIV AIDS prevention. That's why not only Manipur, in Manipur we have I think Santa and Sanamasa, they all are the pioneer who are doing these activities, showing this beauty contest every year. Through that beauty contest, we were giving, Manipur State AIDS Control Society is giving say quiz among the participants, and we encourage the people to participate, and through this medium we spread the HIV AIDS message also. So that's why from 2000 onwards in Manipur we have done as a regular program among the trans community, the trans queen contest, and even up to the level of Northeast Trans Queen Contest, where people from community from Meghalaya, Assam, so many people, they also participated in Manipur. And yes, when Golmai Chingpui, she said about the program in the hill area. Yeah, that is right. Though we organize the program particularly in valley area every year, but we cannot reach to the hill areas because of the so many reasons, as she also pointed out, because of the Christian religious, there is stigma, and it is very much taboo for the Christian community, for this trans community. That's why we cannot organize the program in hill areas, but still we are expanding our activities in hill areas. Even we are having this program, HIV/AIDS program among the MSM and trans community in Churachandpur, and earlier we have started in Kangpokpi, which is now a very independent district, autonomous district, and we are trying to expand it this year also, more and more areas. And for that, Singpui, may I have a request to you that you wanted to spread the message on the HIV/AIDS also, and particularly this mobilization of the community. For that, we are now in the pipeline of taking this programmatic mapping and population size estimation. So in that, if your community help it out, then the spot, the area where these trans communities are there, if it is included, it will be at the district level. This collection of information is at the district level. Once you support it through this program called programmatic mapping and population size estimation, then definitely we can expand other activities in the hilly areas also. So this is my request, because when Sir Sadanda was telling about this implementation of the program among the trans community, yes, he has rightly pointed out that so far in Manipur we have the data on HIV/AIDS, hepatitis, and other health related things. We have surveillance report of only MSM community, not for the transgenders. So that's why we definitely will try to include it, not this year but next round. This year it has already started, and April is the ending month, so we may not be able to include it in this year. So next year definitely mathangi sahida khoi sigi sentinel surveillance among the trans community akhoi lokhan abo hona jage adu yam luri di trans community ki marakta akhoi ki program se maruoina trans women marakta akhoi ki program se national AIDS control program se trans women marakta lai. It is not for the trans men ki dadi laitri adubu I think we are lucky enough that we are trying to take up some activities with the support of the PEPFAR, that is through CDC and ITEC. We are trying to implement this program where we are having this inclusive of both trans men and trans women. For that we are having this coming 25th, we are going to open a help desk in Jennings, and there will be one center opposite to the Jennings. There will be one center where we will be providing various activities, not only this mental health, counseling, or even some trainings will be there. Aduna aina mayam da haijaning se maro na communities nok sing da haijaning se hairiba Manipur State AIDS Control Society ga CDC amasung ITEC ka pullaga lokhalaiba program sida maro na hoji fauda ekhoi Jennings da ekhoi gi kai tare khara makhai di HIV AIDS ka mari lenen lokhat program da khitang akhoina success oena khanbasi khitang sensitize tawraba doctor sing nursing fajana Jennings lai masina maram orakana ngasidi ART loba lakpada yam kai tare yamna freely ART lokjaba lakpa aduga Jennings se moina yam pamjaba hospital amoina identify tawbasina maram orakana khona Jennings ta ahan boina help desk for health and wellness center haidna help desk sama thamjare masigi help desk sigi khuthang da tawrakanda khona magi mari lenaba ada issue mayam counseling gi oro mental health gi oro any other issues ngasai haina kiba livelihood kamari lenabo oro ngasai livelihood sida ekhona karamba job kamaina apply to baya gadage kari karamba makhal gi line da khoi training chat pe agadage adugumba gi discuss tawnana bagi yam phajana well maintained tawraba adugumba ekhoi gi space ama more than 6-7 rooms we are providing for them for different type of discussion, not only health issues but also other related issues. Aduna sima masigi khudong chaba sima ai lohon janingi aduga ngasai haibi khibdu maina ko yam toina trans ki marakta thokpa depression gumba masigumba issue sing se deal tawnana ba hairiba ekhoina thammiba center si health and wellness center. It is exclusively run by trans people. Aduna sigi khudong chaba sima ai lohon janingi aduga Manipur State AIDS Control Society na hek haubadagina haidi 1998 ta ekhoi state AIDS policy ki makha da implement torpadagi hauna huju fauda various activities ekhoi tawraga lakhre huju fauda ekhoi more than Manipur gi ekhoi gi Thoubal da oiro Kakching gi area oiro Churachandpur oiro adagi IMPHAL East West hairiba areas singsida even including Churachandpur ekhoi more than ekhona huji enroll tawr laibase more than 3,000 people ekhoi enroll tawrga lai hairiba mi singsida ekhona regularly tawba health kamari lenaba adugumba activities mayam tawi madui manungda ekhoi se ekhoi gi partner oina huji work tawminane Marup Loi Foundation Bishnupur da for the last more than 10 years ekhoi work tawrga lai aduna hairiba Bishnupur dagina ekhoi up to ekhoi gi rural gi population ngai se ayamba ekhoi cover tawduna lakhre hauji ekhoina atopa hilly area da sangjanabagi sem sare adugi damakta ekhoina handak se lakadariba sahi sigi hauji ekhoi population mapping ama tawriba sida ekhoi singi area se maximum ekhoi cover tawna ba hona jagani aduga last time haijining di now how giba 3-4 years it is that we have lots of act pass even HIV AIDS Act 2017. It was passed in April, 28 April 2017. And the same act is published in our Gazette, Manipur State Gazette, and now even the rules has been already published in the Gazette in February, 3rd February 2021. The Gazette, in the Gazette, rule on HIV AIDS Act has been already published. Aduna mayam da haijaning si HIV AIDS ki ek sidista community singsigi empower tawraga leire adu mathakta hauji fawbada Manipur State Legal Service Authority ga aikoi so many activities mayam tawminakre direct max ka tawminaba natabda se khudamana Manipur network of positive people angang sigi right adaga positive people sigi right madugi damakta aikoi dal sana natraga masal sana mateng panga lakre even Bishnupur district hogiba for the last 4 or 5 years aikoi district ki dal saga thabak tawminarpadagi so many case mayama aikoi even sorokta lamjau da lakna ba khona ba adu adumaina saibiba tawbo mayam adu bhogi case local kanda aikoi se so many case resolve tawkhre aduna hojik aikoi gi community singi marakta ngasai kenona di hai hojik su problem yam leiri na chomdi sumi adubu problem yam leiraga su Manipur di aikoi gi root ta aikoi gi culture da trans ki oiba activity se adum yauraga lakhra pot ama khangi hojik se khudamoina maibi hairase maibi yaudana aikoi gi culture da yam maru oriba lai harau ba hariba pochida maibi yaudana maibi na procession jagoi oro lai katpo oro everything aikoi unlike other Indian religion da laitaba aikoi di maibi se very important kano khan aikoi culture da yaujar pa pot am khan nupana maibi oitarsu nupa maibi harini maibi heba term se it is a feminine term se aduna nupana oitargasu sumaina culture dagi aikoi di yauraga lakpa pot am khak oibanina masi adapt tausanba aduga aikoina thabak se lokhalakpa matamda I thoidokna yam hena ludabra khali acceptance yam wangna lei even sumang lila da nupana nupi sagera natraga nupina nupa saba oitarsu sumang lila da yam popular oina aikoina u phangi se nupina nupa sage su natra nupana nupi sage su animakki keno se sumang lila sanglen sida khoi sei khuding adum hoju su chathari brain khale aduna aikoi da root tagi yaurokpa pot amakhak oibanina aikoi ge adjustment yam thuina khali aduna ngasimak aikoina khanariba si kamaina implement toba yagadage masi implement toba matamda tongan ba department sing na kari role loba yagadage se aidi department sing bu role lohan bada Bonita ki choba role so drum ki lakane khale ma se very recently Bonita has become the state I think project coordinator of this particularly health and wellness center aduna sensitization yam darkar lain khale doctor singi level da administrator ki level da tongan ba level da koi sensitization aikoi yam maru oine khale aduna tatar gadi aikoi ek se ek oina dum lehuba ngasai he ki dumaina thabakti chalo daba adugumba thokpa yai aduna sensitization program se sumaina matam gi aikoi gi masal saga sinminari sumaina aikoi department tu goina se khudamana health haitarsu health trans community singi health needs haina trokanda state level or consultation adumai silaningi if sathi dasu madugumba aikoi fund leitaragadi health ki authority sing health ki implementation madu faminarga health needs of the trans community haidana adumaina consultation adumaina toba ay yam darkar legadra en khali at least sugumba kare hetare yam maru oiba ek ama hojik la abanina ek se implement toba ngamna phona bada adugumba activity sing do khoi lokhachi aduga ai gi saitai su ai kanna ai te kaloina rakanda city sigal loina raga I'll try my level best to implement this act in Manipur and to make all our fellow trans people to be free from any kind of harassment, free from any kind of pressures. So once again, I thank for inviting Manipur State AIDS Control Society to this particular program. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Manipur State AIDS Control Society gi maikaidagi akoi transgender community singi damakta mateng tawbirakani amadi tawri amadi amuka hena tawbirakani for especially for the hilly areas of interior places of Manipur adugi damakta khoi pun adum changchan minasi haina aina thamjari. With this I would like to request Ms. Laisang Them Kamala, Assistant Director, Directorate of Education is tagi sigi program siga mari lainana wahi khara thambinaba ningsingjai.
First of all, a very good afternoon to all the dignitaries present here and my dear all colleagues who are attending on today's one-day state-level consultation workshop on implementation of the Transgender Person Protection of Right Acts 2019 and Rules 2020. I, on behalf of Education Department, really thanks to the organizing committee, Manipur State Legal Service Authority, along with in collaboration with Sati, Amana, and Ita. Aina haizena akoi sigi exe 2019 December da SNP here abamatung hoi 2020 di because of the pandemic of COVID-19 lakhibana maram moiduna school singju close oibadagi sigi ek sigi matang da aina khanjabada akoi ka henna department side tagi student awareness piba khotpadi chance ti kanu tawgre wat kre adubu aina haizaning badi mayam da teamwork tawminaraga aikoina pamba pandamje phangdaba laite aduna somgi any help from the education school education gi side tagi any kanu awareness piba khotpa school da chatse hairaga so adum ai sa director da put up tawzaraga teamwork tawminaraga everything will be in successful and somgi right sing then somgi kanogi self identity phangnabagi damakta honaminasi haibasi haizaningi. Moreover, handak after 34 years national education policy 2020 roll out tawgre, then various task force form tawraga discussion tawgre what are the things to be taken up priority wise tawbada. Then in that part aduda mostly this time moi equitable quality education pigani haina yaubada socially disadvantaged groups or marginalized group tazu emphasis pigani haina yaubada gender transgender as well as girl women education the more focus tawgani haina su yaurabanina. Moreover, gender inclusion fund su laigani haina su NEP 2020 the yaurabanina, and I think that from the central government side as well as from the state government side tagi fruitful amadi thoglakani haina asa tawjai once the NEP 2020 came into force. Haujikti task force emaga just analysis story what are the things to be put or taunaba discussion karna tauri. Then by 2022 or 23 the NEP 2020 se surely follow up taurani adaina haizani bamna aikoigi state ki damaktazu curriculum amas pura change lakadabanina curriculum amas semba matamda sigi matangda kaino taunaba yaunabagi damakta ai somgi site tagizu just serga discussion ta hauraga yaunabagi damaktazu most warmly welcome and serga tanaraga or then government ga tanaraga put a hap nabasu honaminasi haina ainasi and I am looking forward for a positive response and for somgi community dasu equality phangnaba then just self identity phangnabagi damakta looking forward oizari. Thank you.
Thank you. Assistant Director, Directorate of Education is tagi ko national education policy da ko yahauna ba transgender community dagi ko gi punna khanaraga stakeholders sing je involved ken tawbiraga yahan bibagi door hangtok pirakani haibaki se thambiram ba yamna nungai jai. With this I would like to request Srimati Randhoni Laik Yengbam, Assistant Director Sathi na kano se lau dingai mamang da 1 minute ki akoi short video ma khatang play tawina ba akoi kano team da haizari. Both the two videos.
I samuk sathi consider no leje koina loina titagi president no propose koi tagi mai kai di haning bam tang transgender sing the mukta nupa man nupi man sing asi the mukta hojik reservation thambiba happy bahag se yam drakal ho yan khali loina na promote reservation and scholarship for transgender student. Thank you.
Hi, this is Bonita Febam from Manipur. I am an NP activist and transgender woman, and it is high time to ensure police personnel of all cadres and judiciary to make them aware about the NALSA judgment, Zohar verdict and the Transgender Act and rule, because sometimes transgender people are being harassed unnecessarily by the police personnel. Even the in favor acceptance, in favor reception has been occurred even in the judiciary surroundings. So I would like to draw attention of all people to make them aware about the Transgender Act, rule, policy and the NALSA judgment. Thank you.
Ma'am, say loin maksuyam wanara manipung se anita sal edo. There's a slight change in program. Akoi lunch break tau dabida loy salla se na anumaina lepna re, so that if we break for lunch, it will not be like we will not have people coming back for more discussion. Aduna, Aduna kainoni, I will take this moment to just show our respect as well as appreciation for the stakeholders and the communities who have come to be part of this very important discussion and consultation. For this, I would like to welcome Santa from Amana Hemba to kindly please come on stage, and then we want to gift our stakeholders whom we have invited and have spent time with us for the discussion. Sabna. So yeah, we will just start from Madam Saroja Hemba. Yeah, please. Thank you, Madam. Next, I would like to request Santa to kindly hand over our small gift to Tamo Abiram, Joint Director, Manipur State AIDS Control Society. Next, I would like to request Hemba to kindly hand over our gift to G. Kavita, Manipur State Rural Livelihood Mission, Mission Manager. Yeah. Santa, please do the honor for Miss Laisang Tem Kamala, Assistant Director, Education, S. Yeah, also the support of Manipur State Legal Services Authority, whom we have throughout the conducting of this program. Please honor Deputy Member Secretary Sorokhaibam Sadananda. Yeah. Also, we have in our midst one of our funders, Ajim Premji Philanthropic Initiatives, Sambhavi from Mandya, Bangalore, who has come and also be part of our consultation. Santa, can you please do the honor for Ms. Sambhavi? APPI is currently supporting one of our LGBTI projects in Manipur, Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Odisha. Yeah, and Hemba, I would like to request you to kindly hand over our small gift to Dr. L. Ramakrishnan, Vice President Sati. Ramki has had a very bad accident few days back, but we really honor you coming here and being part of this consultation. Thank you, Ramki. Yeah. Thank you, Santa and Hemba. Yeah. Next, I would like to call upon my community friends who have been here on stage to deliver the challenges, who have spoke about health issues, any form of issues that are being faced by the community. So I'll take the name. I would request all of you to please come here once again. Kambuiga Golmai, Apan Moirangthem, Thaujal Saugaijam, Jessie Lystrom, and Bunita Pebam. Please come on stage. Jessie left, okay. Bonita Pebam, please come on stage. For this, I would like to request Bishwa, Sarmista, Asit, who are all colleagues of Sati, who came from Bhubaneswar to support us for this program. Yeah. Yeah. We can start from Janpui. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you all so much. Please take your seats. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now, with the closing of this small felicitation moment, I would like to request Sujata. There are a few questions which were coming live, and we thought that it is important to at least answer a few of those, and then we'll open the discussion. If anyone of our friends who have not spoken have any burning issues or anything which is needed to be shared for the discussion, we can have that one. So I would like to welcome Sujata to bring out the questions. Yeah.
Before we wind up, there are a few questions we would like to respond. Ahanbagisidy, Manipurda hauzik transgender persons punna kayamuk laibirage hai je Sati or any.
Asked this question, we do not have a specific data because, I mean, we do not have specific data which has been conducted by the government, but as per data which we have as part of Sati intervention since the past many years, and what we have submitted to Social Welfare Department, that was a little long back time data which included a few of the transgender men also. So we have submitted around 4,000, close to 4,000, which we have for the 5 districts where we have intervened. So that is the number we have as of now. Okay, so she is asking me to carry on. So any...
London,
yes,
let me submit some of the informations.
Yes, sir.
So far, Manipur State AIDS Control Society is implementing this program. But NACO is particularly for the, we call it B. But the other active population, it is not covered under the MSM program, under National AIDS Control Program. That's why whatever we are having in our registered, no? Say Maruploy is having, then Saso, then Kras in Thoubal, and Salom in Churachandpur, and some data with methyl emulsionization in Kangpokpi. So like that, we have some information, but there is no proper survey as such. That's why I am telling today that we are going to conduct this programmatic mapping and population size estimation. And from this, after completion of this, we can come to have a conclusion that approximately how many people will be there. But still, the thing is that due to the stigma and discrimination, they are still very hidden, Though we tried our level best, but still they cannot come out freely. Even when we go to Churachandpur, in the interior area, they cannot come out. But in the urban side, yes, somehow they can come out. So like that, in the hilly area, there is no proper no information, because we cannot count them exactly. That is the situation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tamo Abhiram. You can speak from, yeah, please use the portable mic.
Regarding the population of the transgender community, I got information from the census department. It is the number of transgender population overall in the state is 1,340, like that, 1,343 only. There is something gap between the government and the existence of the community. And I'm very happy and glad to hear that from the Madam Randhoni that the number of transgender population is 4,000 above. It is somehow it is covered few maximum numbers, I think, but in the census department it is reflected only 1,343. It is in the census report of 2011. Now, I want to say. What I want to say in this forum is that the authenticity of the data and the reliability of the data will be coming out from the census department. This is so we need to lobby with the census department further for including more number of transgender in order to make more authenticity in program planning in the future.
Yeah, exactly agree with Bonita, because 2011 census, like that is the data which we are all referring across the country. But at that time, 2011, if you think it's 10 years before, and we can imagine how many number of people come out and have said that I am a transgender and please put my distinct gender as transgender during that time. And it came out in 2011, but the groundwork was done 2009-10, meaning the collection of information. So these are the gaps, but it is very, very lowly, I should say, the data is very low, what has come out in the census.
May I add something? So what they did during census 2011 was record the number of individuals who identified as other. It did not say transgender. They had a category other added to male and female. And a huge number of those people who filled in other are actually parents filling on behalf of minor children. So it's quite possible, A, that some of the intersex people got misclassified as transgender or being used in this transgender estimate of about 5 lakh. It's also possible that a lot of trans people who are closeted would not identify in the census, plus not all transgender people identify as other. Some of them identify as women, many of them identify as men, so they would be completely missing from that census. So the 5 lakh is the census amount. The NACO's targeted intervention reach is about 10 times that amount for the entire country. Again, that is primarily it's exclusively trans feminine people. Trans men are completely missing from that, from either of those.
Vishwa, yeah, we are welcoming any form of comments, whatever things we have, few things in our minds, we can share it, and before we close the program.
Okay, my question is for Madam from National Rural Mission. So one is, you are talking about self-help group with trans individuals. So my question one is, there is a traditional also system of self-help groups. So how it works in Manipur? That's one. Second, given the context of community members residing in different geographical locations, and given the guideline that National Rural Livelihood Mission has, meaning at least you need to have 10 individuals for forming one SSG. So can, at the state level, can something be done so that minimum requirement can be reduced to 5? Because that is something that we have done in Odisha, not as part of NRLM, but as part of Department of Social Security. That is second question. And third is like, how NRLM can, play important role in terms of doing literacy sessions with community members about different, opportunities that NRLM has. So you call it SSG, joint livelihood groups, all those stuff, and how we can, create avenues for including them.
Yeah, very nice question. See, how SAGs work in Manipur, it's just the same that, according, as per the directives and the guidelines that we have from DNRLM, which is at National Mission Management Unit. So we have a dedicated staff at the state level as well as the district level and the block level. So the state level, in fact, we are the ones who make the policies and the district level and the block level implements it. So how it works is basically when we enter a village, when we enter a block and village, we go to the stakeholders, we have a meeting, one-to-one meeting, and also we have an awareness program. So this includes not only Day NRLM, which MSRLM is taking care of 2 schemes right now. And one is DDU GKY, Din Dayal Antodaya Yojana, Kaushal Yojana, which is again a very useful thing for them also, to be part of it. Because here we are promoting youths from the age group of 18 to 35 who can, who have a skill and also can further be skilled, and make a placement. We give a placement. So this will work with the inclusive of implementing agency, not by our MSRLM as such, but with the implementation done by the agencies, which we have a MOU sign and all. So this has particularly 164 trades we have. So this is across the state, so in all the districts. So this is one area that, apart from the self-help group promotion that we do, this DDU GKY skill part is also one of the main area that we are working on. Number 2 is, I'm not remembering. Size of the group, definitely. As per the norms that we have under the directives of the NRLM, which is at the national level, this transgender group can be considered as a special group. And also we have consideration for elderly group as well, where they can have a minimum of 5 members. So this is very good for the transgender group. So wherever we find, people like having this kind of, this thing will definitely be addressed, in the villages that we go. But then as it has been rightly pointed out by the director Max, that, they don't come out in open. So once whenever we go to the field and we do awareness by our field staff, once we build up a rapport, because we stay in the village 24/7, our staff. So that way we try and build up a rapport with them. So easily it comes out slowly, then. So that's how we could include few SIG members amongst the female group, few trans male, which is in the group right now. And number 3rd, which is okay, so now we are supporting all kinds of livelihoods that they have been practicing earlier in order to enhance their livelihoods, as well as we try and link with the bank so that they get credits, bank linkage. Through that bank linkage, they can upgrade or upscale their whatever activities, and also including multiple livelihoods opportunities we give. Apart from whatever they are practicing, we try and give all kinds of technical help and financial support as well. Other than the ministry giving funds to the group members, it will be bank linked, and also from other sources, like we have state Startup Village Entrepreneurship Program and Mahila Kisan Sasaktikaran Program, which is like whoever is at the Mahila Kisan at the village will definitely get some benefits out of which, from the ministry. And also it's a very big opportunity for self-help group members to be in NRLM fall, MSRLM fall, because one, it will be like all the schemes of all the departments now wants to give fund to the beneficiary through the SAG members formed under day NRLM. So this is one big advantage, because now also we get to hear from Ministry of Food and Processing, and also Ministry of Handloom and Textiles, who wants to have a convergence with NRLM through SAG members to give funds, you know. So this kind of opportunities are coming up. Knowing the fact that, you know, SAG members, they are they have a very good binding, and also their NPA is very good, you know. I mean, they don't have we have 100% NPA now at the, our SAGs have, because now earlier, like during the SGSY time, way back in 2011 and all, when SAGs were formed, that time the bank were not very supportive, you know, to fund. But now even the SBIs, the toughest banks, have come up, you know, to fund the SAG members, after knowing the fact that, you know, there's a 100% repayment by the SAG members. So this is one good opportunity that we can start on working together, including, you know, the transgender at wherever. So that's why I want to know if at all we can gather some data, you know, specific data where across this population has been spread out, you know, because now we are entering into Churachandpur, and so we are going to cover 70 blocks of Manipur very shortly in this year. So now we are into 27 blocks right now.
Yeah. So one final thing, madam. Do you have anything? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So regarding data. So for recently we have started mapping of community members in IMPHAL, East West and Bishnupur district. So basically we are doing a skill mapping. So we are trying to understand the aptitude and interest of trans community members, and then also which are the areas that they want to, you know, build their professional competency, and what kind of you know, support they require, whether it is bank linkage, it's loan, or what kind of support. So that we are trying to understand. Maybe in a month or so we'll definitely be in a position to come up with some data, and we can definitely get in touch with you.
Okay.
What can be done. That's
great.
one.
Yeah,
Second thing is Deputy Secretary Sir was emphasizing on education and awareness building. So this is the right platform to discuss with you. Can you know, so far the you know, human resource force is concerned from NRLM, can we have a formal, you know, training sessions or sensitization session with the staff members so that they understand the community needs well?
Yeah, definitely we can look forward for having such kind of platforms, you know, where we can have sensitization as well as, you know, supporting this kind of forum. As per NRLM guidelines, you know, we have been having components like, other than livelihoods, we have PRI, CBO convergence, all sorts of convergence has been emphasized to work upon, you know, so to elevate and to develop the larger, you know, rural masses. So in that sense, like, we can do so many convergence also in that sense, and also we can work on the development. That is one thing, yeah.
A couple more questions, ma'am.
Yeah.
One is, do you have any data that transgender people have taken up any of your schemes or have joined any of the SAGs so far?
Not in a very large scale,
okay.
Because we have been now implementing in 21 blocks, but this is very new. But then 4 resource blocks has been quite pretty old, which is like 4 years now. So in that area, with the example that I was sharing, that, you know, some trans men are there in the group. So these people are really doing very good, because they have they have been having regular earning as well, you know, for themselves. So very few instances I can give as a data, but then that's what, you know, people are not coming up. But then in the 4 resource blocks, definitely I will be able to give the data, because now that NRLM National MIS portal also has a transgender as an option, you know, other than the female. So that can give a very clear picture of the number of transgender which has been involved.
A follow-up question: considering the Trans Act and rules have come out with the format for official name and gender change only now, what proof of transgender identity is NRLM using to enroll a person as transgender? Are you asking for change in their Aadhaar card, or is it just based on self-identification?
Yes.
Okay, just okay, excellent. Okay, That's great. And as Bishwa was saying, we've been doing the skill mapping based on the GKY as well as the Panchayati Raj and rural development. We've taken all the tools and adapted them for the trans community. We are yet to do this in Manipur, but it would be great if we could directly link people who have the skill and the aptitude with your programs.
Yeah, definitely we can collaborate and do something fruitful, for the community side. That's, we can vouch for it, like, we can do together. Yeah, that's.
Thank you, Ramki, thank you, Vishwa, and then thank you, the representative from NRH, what is that? NRLM. So like, mathangi programs is a third community sing the any question laity hangbiro aduga equina way forward the karita we are have to hana so hainakre but still community maraktagi haining ba wale radi sidathan biro aduga koi like stakeholders sing sina so that they can take away your thought and ideas when they go back aduga kaino HRLM ki I know wa ma thamzaning ba HRLM da habadi akoina SHG gi seller group ki se akoina hana su taw khre bako aduda akoina experience taw was the communities in transgender sing city communities se yamna scattered oiraga laiba aduduna seller group ki initiative se lapa matam da punsin be yamna ngam deba aduduna akoina tanabada akoina community marakta sum tanabda karamaina am effective oin thabuk se tawhan gada ge habda akoina propose taw sikana ga bonita akoina hainaram bane ba akoi giti traditional ways of saving money habdi marup sem effective oidana aduga kanagumbana keno skill development program ni ka haje ta lagte ba even loira kan da su adugi season bang khang da bodo aduduna state ki oiba state ki reality siga chana ba mo ongda so akoina guidelines se kitang change tawraga karigumba provision ama program ama akoina introduce taw ba bagi adugi space laigadra okay special consideration oina pi ba okay
area sida kaigumba transgender se akoi gidi minimum 10 to 15 members hana high ba self help group sida oigeda se aduga adu high ragasu akoi di transgender adugumba group oiragadi definitely 5 members can also make a group adugi wan adu maina lay ba aduna adum special consideration adum laine ba aduna some relaxation is allowed the group that adumaina hanam strictly akoina nupi ngata gi group ta tawbado adumaina adum tawde ba ko tongana consideration khara piye ba
okay so Sabna
just wanted to thank you the Sathi team and Mana Anita to invite us. I come from the National AIDS Control Organization Northeast Technical Support Unit, and this is what I see here. This is that Manipur is leading in the transgender whole movement, and means this is a recognition to Sathi, Amana, everyone, and all the stakeholders here. What I request that we are also coming with a Trans Health and Welfare and Wellness Center with the support of with the full direct support from Manipur SACS and National AIDS Control Society, which is financially also supported by CDC PEPFAR. And I'm requesting all of you, all the dignitaries, because here I think they have not brought the invitation cards, but they really wanted had already in the list. That's all these important people should be invited. So please, if you are from 3 to 6 on 25th, Hotel Grandier, if you are available, please come and join. And also, so please join there. If possible, they will definitely, today there's one review meeting is going on. So they are very busy on that. So I also look forward for a collaboration with Sathi. We all had a detailed collaboration here with Sathi and the entire, where the Manipur, the other Amana, Ita, where they are doing very good work. It should not replicate wherever the good work is happening. It should continue and sustain. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Sanjeev. I would like to now pass on the mic to Savana.
Thank you, Santa. I know that as part of the agenda, we cover it. I think question hang double. Okay, Bonita. Okay,
my question is for Education Department, respected ma'am. ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯅꯦꯝ ꯆꯦꯟꯖ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯁꯦꯁꯀꯤ ꯃꯇꯥꯡꯗꯅꯦꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯙꯥꯔ ꯀꯥꯔꯗꯇ ꯑꯗꯩꯗꯤ ꯄꯦꯟ ꯀꯥꯔꯗꯇ ꯑꯗꯩꯗꯤ ꯑꯇꯣꯞꯄ ꯄꯨꯝꯅꯃꯛꯁꯦ ꯂꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁꯔꯖꯔꯤ ꯂꯣꯏꯔ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯗ ꯆꯦꯟꯖꯁꯦ ꯂꯣꯏ ꯇꯧꯔꯕ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯗ ꯒꯖꯦꯠ ꯅꯣꯇꯤꯐꯤꯀꯦꯁꯟꯁꯨ ꯇꯧꯔꯕ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯀꯨꯜꯒꯤ ꯁꯔꯇꯤꯐꯤꯀꯦꯠꯇ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ 10, 12 ꯑꯗꯩꯗꯤ BA, BSc ꯑꯗꯣ 10 ꯀ꯭ꯂꯥꯁ 10ꯗꯒꯤ ꯍꯧꯅꯤꯗꯅ ꯑꯗꯣ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯑꯩ ꯕꯣꯁꯦꯝꯗ ꯆꯠꯆꯔꯨꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯀꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯅꯤ ꯅꯦꯝ ꯆꯦꯟꯖ ꯐꯣꯔꯃꯦꯠ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯩꯗꯅ ꯐꯣꯔꯝ ꯑꯃ ꯍꯥꯟꯅꯒꯤ ꯑꯗꯩꯗꯨꯒ ꯀꯃꯟ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯍꯥꯟꯅꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯖꯔꯤꯕ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯕ꯭ꯂꯦꯝꯁꯤꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯁ꯭ꯄꯦꯂꯤꯡ ꯃꯤꯁꯇꯦꯛꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯁꯔ ꯅꯦꯝꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯑꯗꯩꯗꯤ ꯃꯥꯗꯔ ꯐꯥꯗꯔ ꯃꯃꯤꯡꯗꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯃꯤꯁꯇꯦꯛ ꯂꯩꯕꯗꯣ ꯑꯁꯤ ꯈꯛꯇꯒꯤꯅꯦꯕ ꯐꯣꯔꯃꯦꯠꯁꯤꯗꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯖꯦꯟꯗꯔ ꯆꯦꯟꯖ ꯇꯧꯔꯕ ꯃꯇꯨꯡꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯑꯣꯟꯕꯒꯤꯁꯦ ꯂꯩꯇꯦꯕ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯐꯣꯔꯃꯦꯠꯁꯦ ꯂꯩꯇꯕ ꯁꯤꯁꯤ ꯀꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯗꯅ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯇꯦꯞꯁꯦ ꯐꯣꯔꯋꯥꯔꯗ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯁꯨꯡꯉꯝ ꯉꯝꯗ꯭ꯔꯦꯕ
ꯑꯩ ꯁꯔ ꯗꯤꯔꯦꯛꯇꯔꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯋꯥꯗꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯄꯨꯠ ꯑꯞ ꯇꯧꯖꯔꯒ ꯐꯣꯔꯝꯁꯤꯡꯗꯣ ꯆꯦꯟꯖ ꯇꯧꯅꯕ ꯑꯥꯏꯗꯔ ꯏꯟ ꯁ꯭ꯀꯨꯜꯒꯤ ꯐꯣꯔꯝ ꯑꯣꯏꯒꯦꯔꯥ ꯑꯦꯅꯤ ꯐꯣꯔꯝꯗ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯒꯤ ꯍꯥꯞꯅꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯩ ꯁꯔꯗ ꯄꯨꯠ ꯑꯞ ꯇꯧꯖꯔꯒꯦ ꯉꯁꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯑꯩ ꯈꯪꯖꯈ꯭ꯔꯦꯕ ꯑꯗ ꯑꯩꯁꯨ ꯍꯟꯗꯛ ꯑꯣꯟꯂꯥꯏꯟ ꯐꯣꯔꯝ ꯐꯤꯜ ꯑꯞ ꯌꯦꯡꯕꯒꯨꯝꯕꯗ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯥꯟꯁꯖꯦꯟꯗꯔꯒꯤ ꯌꯥꯎꯕꯗꯣ ꯎꯖꯈ꯭ꯔꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁ꯭ꯀꯨꯜ ꯑꯦꯖꯨꯀꯦꯁꯟ ꯗꯤꯄꯥꯔꯠꯃꯦꯟ ꯁꯥꯏꯠꯀꯤ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯃꯤꯁ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯉꯝꯕꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯁ꯭ꯀꯨꯜ ꯑꯦꯖꯨꯀꯦꯁꯟꯒꯤ ꯕꯣꯝꯕꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯔꯦꯁꯄꯣꯟꯁꯤꯕꯤꯂꯤꯇꯤ ꯂꯧꯕ ꯉꯝꯃꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯌꯔ एजुकेशन अखोना पाइब नतबनीना क्या कनो तौर स्कूल एजुकेशन की एनी फॉर्म ददी सिगीजे इंक्लूजन यावनबदो आई सर डायरेक्टर द पुट अप तौजरुरगे अदुगा सर कमिश्नर होय तानारगा पास तौनब फॉर्म चेंज तौनब ऑर्डर थोकनबदो आई होनजरागे
Okay. I have one concern. Madam, again, to the education. In the National Education Policy 2020, transgender are categorized under the social economically disadvantaged group. It is, but again in the National Education Policy 2020, it is mentioned that gender inclusive, and under that there has a policy, and it is gender inclusive policy. Under that policy, I come across that there will be a conditional fund transaction and bicycles, sanitation, and the toilet. There will be budget for that in the state. Budget will be available in the state to implement the necessity. So how? But my concern is that transgender are not legally accepted to identify themselves if they are under 18. But in the education age, the children will be under 18 for sure. And how can such kind of service will be delivered to the gender non-conforming children? We will say gender non-conforming under 18 transgender peoples. So how can such kind of opportunity will be delivered to the transgender students? Many of transgender persons are dropping out because of financial issues and conditional transgender. It is mentioned that not scholarship. It's not mentioned as scholarship. Conditional fund transactions. What is that? I also confused. What is the conditional fund transaction? So I want to get clarification on that.
Actually, NEP 2020 से कनो दी roll out दी हाई दी put forward दी तौद्री अदुदा यावे gender inclusion fund हाई बा कनो यावे बा the central government as well as state government ना अदुगी सोई देना fund दी हापा कनी then moreover lines यावरी देना को transgender as well as women हाई बा अदुना आइना खन बदा सोई देना यारो कनी अदुना आइना हाइजन इंगी से अखोइना first of all what is important is community awareness. School the awareness piba ma darka tareba. Either teachers or student or headmasters or principal moi the khangan ba ma. Somna ngasai dress code to oiro moi gi noina pamza ba either kano the chaninga gana male gi adum selan ba girl the chaninga girl da tu si me am se ina ngasi ai loina not tawzaraga ai sir the brief of tawzaraga sir commissioner ga NEP 2020 roll out tawdri dana. Taura akanda loina yahona ba aduna mayam ga sutana raga most important is awareness people seneba mayam se gyan ta han ba seneba until and unless awareness is not given no one will come out openly aduna school singda moreover akoi handa Ayushman Bharat ki makha da school health aina moina school health wellness being haina amasu topic amaga syllabus amaga su include ta hole eba aduda angang singi adolescents angang sing the focus tawre eba moize drug abuse or either adolescent girls na moina early marriage gumba chakena targana moina peer if drop teasing gumba mayam je karamaina control tawni then interacy gumba training ama online so yauze ko koi state te represent visit tawraga Delhi ga since kano laibadagi offline training to ba yadabde online training to matamda aduna central na su tawra ibanina aina khanbada NEP se laktringai da sigi topic sigi soidana moi task force yaurakani haina su thazai then aina somga teamwork to minaraga sir hoida puraf tawraga government da emphasis kara pishan taradi aikoi gi state ki su hayeng curriculum sembada part state ki part amati dum yaweba aduda sum larik ta chapter amatang oirasu yahauragadi awareness pirimatik praja mayam da khangimati open up helakanieba aduna aina haizaning badi akoi pulak work to minaraga awareness piraga then sigi hayeng fun include tawraga su tawhauna ba then akoi gi budget ta handaki dadi ai hapra ta bradi ai budget ki ta yahauda bani nai khangja jai huren sarda hangzaraga karigumba yawram draga su mathangi dadi yauna ba dagidi NEP 2020 roll out tawraga di yawda ba sunyara reba gender inclusion fa naina phajana kanu tawna mami pallabanina ado state na follow dum tawrakanieba asi
mayam kena tawai ko do tanaraga dum ta horedana moreover hosikandi any scheme gi fund lak basya student gi kind account changeba neither the amount is given to the head or to the teacher magi angang gi account hang de yadreba suppose aina have the example inspire award kind of weba hobji se angang gi innovative idea gumba class 6 to 10 gi angang naga magi project magi wakhanda lejaba idea innovative ideas e magi put up ozana help to biraga kanoga magi ideas e put up tawrani gari gumba selection phangadi angang je state level da competition yauna ba 10000 ga je phangeba sigumba phangbaje angang dugi personal account tang changeba hausikan je angang gi account leitaba yaraktreba aduna bank gumba dasu loina magi passport either sigi exina force or the form da lo yawra ani form da yawra adabanina karigumba bank ki magi kanu du da gender du da ti yam ta de som da school gi form da su yawra ga di lo match up ti la ani dana aduga hoi team work to minaraga tanaraga sidi adum most importantly awareness people dune praja mayam gyan ta han baje parents se si haizaraga lusinjaraga thank you thank you madam akoi tung da su yam tuna akoi adum follow up tawjarage aduga kaina akoi as a team oina work tawna ba kaina honazarake thank you akoi gi with this akoi na I would like to request as Dinesh for giving ball of thanks Dinesh
Okay, before we close this session for the state level workshop, I, on behalf of Manipur State Legal Services Authority, would like to thank Amana, Sati and Ita for organizing this state level consultation workshop on the implementation of the Transgender Persons Protection Rights Act 2019 and Rules 2020. In continuation, I would like to thank the dignitaries from the stakeholders for sharing their views and suggestions which might be beneficial for the trans communities. Last but not the least, I would like to thank for all the trans community participants, media persons for attending this particular program and making this workshop a successful event. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, a very thank you. Dinesh for giving a word of thanks. Akoi program solution dubu ko program sigi akoi lunch talk dorabani. Before that akoi group photo amtang namina se mayam sida stage ta daroga ko group photo amtang akoi memory am oina ba. Aduga akoi lunch tu lama mani ko mayam. So please akoi mayam si yaubi ko. We'll have a group photo here.